What's up, guys? Welcome to Birds of a Feather live on A2DRadio.com. Live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, BMW of AtlanticCity.com. First half of the show brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC. April 15th, guys, is right around the corner. Gibson Mayer, our certified public accountant, make them yours. GibsonMayer.com. Scanzano Sports Poll Question of the Week. Brought to you by Scanzano Sports, ScanzanoSports.com. Who should the Browns take with the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 NFL Draft? Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, one of the other quarterbacks that's out there, or not a quarterback? We're going to discuss this. We're going to discuss Eagles. We're going to discuss Sixers. We're going to get in some Nova talk because, hey, guys, Title Town, baby. Another parade coming on Market Street, not on Broad, but we got another parade in Philadelphia. What a game last night, by the way. I'm excited to talk a little bit about that game last night. Nova Nation, baby. 2 out of 3 years, national champions.
And yes, a Philadelphia school, by the way.
Yes,
Let's just get out of the way.
Yes. It is a suburb of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia market.
It's not the Arlington Cowboys or the East Rutherford Giants and Jets. It is a suburb of Philadelphia.
Correct.
But we're going to talk that. We're going to talk a lot more, guys. Join us on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, wherever you like to join us, please join us. Chrome, back with Chucks as usual. Ryan Brodo on the 1s and 2s. Paulie's at the Sixers game tonight. Lucky him.
Lucky him.
Sixers are up 13 right now. They're looking good too, man. They are on fire heading into the playoffs. I'm loving that. So, Charles.
What up?
It's draft time, buddy. This
Heck
is like your time of year. I know.
I know.
You and Paulie. You guys are like my.
We're like chomping at the bit.
I know.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
I look forward to the education that you guys continue to give me here with the draft.
Well, I will say this is the most invested and tuned into the draft I've been from previous years. Previous years, I for the most part I paid attention to running backs. But this year,
no shit.
No shit.
No shit.
But
Charles paid attention to running backs, Brodo.
I'm diving into all the positions
Shocker.
I can. So it's fun. It's fun. A lot of work, but it is a fun time.
Got into the cart ahead here, and I'm like, oh, nice Sproles shirt or jersey. I got a Sproles shirt on. I look like a fucking.
Hey, it's April 3rd.
I look like a Charles Mark.
I was like, what should I wear? It's April 3rd. I'm like, okay, 43. Oh, might as well wear Sproles.
Over on Facebook right away, Michael Jenkinson says Saquon. James Wilder says Barkley or Mayfield. Someone told me that they have a feeling about that kid. Thomas Kennedy McMahon, Thomas Arnone says Baker. Clay Ferguson says Chubb. Frank Vespi says Barkley. Keep him away from the Giants in a Giants uniform. And I don't think the Giants are going to take him, to be honest with you. I think they're going to go in a different direction if they don't trade out of that spot. James Wilder says, yo, what's up, Wild Man? James Wilder joined us. You got anything on YouTube already?
YouTube,
I know YouTube starts to fly right away.
Because David Roscoe, right off the bat, our resident Rams fan, says my Rams should get Odell Beckham Jr.
Not now.
Have
Big deal for the Rams, brother. I'll tell you what. I think it was a huge move for the Rams today. Obviously, they traded up totally out of the Patriots' strategy, though. For them to trade up in a draft to take the 23rd pick overall, that was surprising to me.
Well, that was the one question I had for you guys, and that was, what do you think is the bigger story? What the Rams are doing or what the Patriots are doing?
I think because of all the other moves they've made, it's the Rams.
I agree.
Yeah.
And because the Patriots, no matter what quirky stuff they do, you always feel like, okay, they're going to find a way to win. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, some of this might not make sense now. And people are already saying, oh, it's a rebuild. But it's the Patriots. It's Bill Belichick. Like, I honestly think that it's gotten to a point where Bill Belichick is going to want to prove that he can win with Tom Brady and pretty much anyone else.
Well, I mean, you're hearing rumors that Gronk could get moved.
Yeah.
I don't know now with this move, but I still wouldn't count that out. I mean, apparently there is
would not count that
some
out either.
serious friction to the point where he's another one now who has issues with Belichick and the whole culture behind everything. I guess it's wearing down on him. But, you're looking at it, and who would have thought you'd see the day where a guy gets traded from the Patriots to another team and he got traded to a better team. Like, he's in a better situation.
Wow, that's a good
like,
point.
I truly believe that. I mean, what's interesting about the Rams are obviously going all in this year, and they are taking their shot at the Eagles and everybody else in the NFC. But what's interesting about
because
them,
we are the champions.
absolutely, because we're still champs, guys. We're still champs. But what's interesting about it is I don't feel like this is one of those moves where I was talking a couple weeks ago where I said what is interesting about them is it's going to go one way or the other. You know, all this could fall into place and be an amazing offseason for them, or it could be what we've had before where we've gone out and acquired all these big names to where the chemistry just doesn't fit. I don't feel like this falls into that. I think this is 100% a great move for them. I don't feel like with what their needs are, they were going to find a better talent at 23. I think they have a stud wide receiver now, another weapon for Jared Goff.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, to where I think that the most happy person in the world possibly right now is Jared Goff.
Absolutely.
Because you see what they've done to that defense. You see what they've done to the offensive line, obviously.
Yes.
And now you get Brandon Cooks. Hello, Seahawks. Hello, 49ers. Hello, Arizona Cardinals. Hello, NFC.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Tom says, what's up, boys? What up, Tom?
Hi, Tom. Long time no see.
Hello, Tom.
So Dion chimes in, and interesting because we're talking Patriots. First he says, I still say Denver gets Josh Allen. John Elway loves the kid. Plus, he doesn't have to play right away because they have Keenum.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I can see that.
He follows up and says, I think the Patriots want that tight end from PSU.
Gesicki, yeah.
Interesting,
I could
because,
see that.
again, that's a great point, which is why I could still see them moving Gronk and taking him. And they will get a first-round pick for Gronk.
Here's an outside-the-box situation or scenario that I really haven't heard. What if, and tell me if this is realistic, what if they use, this 23rd pick now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they package it to get another player? Because they can use theirs.
Are you thinking OBJ?
I'm not putting a label. I'm just saying in general.
I didn't know if you were going that way.
Maybe.
I wouldn't call you crazy if you said that.
Listen,
I would
man,
not call you crazy.
If you want to name an organization to where OBJ will be forced to grow up rather quickly?
Yeah.
And he's going to have success rather quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, man, there's not too many more as far as buttoned-up organizations than the New England Patriots.
Well, listen,
you
whether
are
you
100% correct.
Whether you love the Patriots or the way Belichick does things, he toes the line. Mm-hmm. Nobody's bigger than the system, except for Tom Brady, apparently, because of Robert Kraft. But nobody's bigger than the system, and if you don't toe your weight, you're out. Doesn't matter who you are. And that's what's kept them so successful in a lot of ways. They don't let the egos come in. The Gronk thing is interesting, though. I had somebody say, the Eagles should be all over this. I completely disagree with that, by the way. A, it's going to cost too much to get him. B, the Eagles have Zach Ertz. Do they need other tight ends? Yes, they do. They don't need another elite tight end like a Gronk. I mean, obviously, listen, if you can have them two next to each other, that's ridiculous.
Phenomenal, but the cost, exactly.
Right, and my other point with that is you got a guy who didn't even know if he wanted to play. He still hasn't 100% announced if he wants to play. I don't know how deep into it his heart is. He might only have another year or two before he decides he wants to hang it up. Mm-hmm. And I feel where we're at, especially because we need draft picks at this point, because we are thin in the second and third round. We don't have picks. It's too high of a cost to get a guy who may not even want to play in a year or two.
Yeah, and to your point as well, with the chance that Gronk could go, because I still have people telling me, obviously in our groups and everything, people saying, there's no chance that they get rid of him. Well, you have guys up in Boston, obviously up in from WEEI, reporting that he's going to be traded. Not could, but going to be traded. So if they're so confident up there that it could happen, listen, we've always talked about, the Patriots organization, except for Tom Brady and Belichick, they're really not known for going with, key guys, big names, obviously. They go with system and who fits. So would it surprise me? And another thing is, Bill Belichick's known for getting rid of guys 1 year too early instead of 1 year too late. Listen, Gronkowski, if he's going to have a lot of demands, if we don't know, the status of how long he's going to be playing, as if he can actually play a full season, because we can go into that argument and that discussion, how many times that's actually happened, it might be better for them to do that because you can see what the return will be. which is absolutely crazy. So it's big with that entire deal and what the Patriots are doing. And to your point, Charles, when you said, like, oh, people were throwing out, like, oh, rebuild.
I'm not
Bill
kidding, no.
Belichick, if he was going rebuild, he would have retired yesterday. He would have retired way before this.
Exactly.
You don't rebuild with a 40-something-year-old Tom Brady who kisses his kids.
If
You just
anything,
don't do that.
they're building for another 2 years all in. Because what does Bill care? If the team is trash in 3 years after Bill's gone, what do you think, Bill's going to lose sleep? Get the hell out of here.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
And if they were rebuilding, I believe that they would have moved on from Tom Brady, and Garoppolo would not have gotten moved. Because if you're looking to rebuild and retool for the next wave coming through, Garoppolo's your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, McDaniel's coming in because he came back, and he was scheduled to go to, he was all set to go to the Colts, and
he spoke about it finally too.
And he came back for some reason to as the assistant or as the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. There is something there where they have a plan to get younger to set him up as well. So I don't see it as a rebuild, but I do see it, like people are saying, they're not going to trade Gronk. It's the Patriots. Don't count anything out when it comes to the Patriots.
No, I still think that there's a chance that he could get moved. And
Right.
and again, they could use that 23 pick to trade back down, get another 2 picks, and then trade Gronk and move back up and get another pick.
Yep.
However they want to do. I mean, it's interesting.
And the other thing to note as far as draft, now given the most recent Rams trade, the Rams and the Texans are the two teams in the NFL heading into this draft that do not only not have a first-round pick, but they don't have a second-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
So the Rams and the Texans will be taking not only the first day off, but the second round off.
Yeah.
Until, obviously, unless they trade some things.
Yep. Mark Keller says New England seems to be unloading. Mike Parker says, yo, what up, Mike? I hope the baby's doing
Mike.
well.
What's up, Mike?
Yep.
Rob Brankman says trade down for the Eagles. I believe he's saying. I kinda
Or the
agree.
Browns, or maybe he's talking about the Browns.
Maybe.
For them to trade
maybe.
down.
Either way, I wouldn't. I mean, for the Browns, unless they're going to take one of the quarterbacks, trade down, because I think Saquon's going to be there for them at 4.
Yeah, I
So-
believe so.
If you're not going to take a quarterback, trade down. If you are, you stay in that spot. For the Eagles, I would trade down, by the way. I would trade out of 32.
Oh, I think they are
Yeah.
going to do that,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think unless Gesicki is there, like if Gesicki's there, I think they'll.
If Gesicki
No,
drops.
I still think even he's not as surefire as a lot of people, some people will make out to be. He's got great receiving skills, but even that they're not as polished as you'd want. And like me and Paulie have said, if you're gonna have someone as your second tight end, which when we have 2 tight end sets, we play that maybe a third of the time. You're not gonna put the second tight end as someone who's worse at blocking than Zach Ertz.
No, I
was.
agree. I agree with
So,
you.
I don't think that even if Gesicki's there, I don't think that's a shoo-in. I think that Gesicki, it wouldn't be I wouldn't be surprised if Gesicki isn't that high on the Eagles board. He could be, but I've seen a lot of fluctuation. I've seen Gesicki as high as when it comes to like in the scouting community and scouts that I follow, their big boards. I've seen him as high as maybe 15, 16. I've seen him as low as 30, 40 something. So there's a lot of variance there. But at 32, I don't think he's like a surefire like guy you bang the table for.
And I'll tell you what, looking further into this, in past years as well, that 32nd pick is attractive anyway, given it's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But it's very attractive given it's the last pick of the day.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's huge
You've
for
seen it.
morale
You've seen
and
that
just-
32nd pick
Yeah.
moved all the time. People trade to get in there. Who didn't someone do that last year, or am I wrong?
I believe 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Because
Okay,
I think the 49ers made a lot of moves in like the 20s, but I don't believe the 32nd was moved.
Okay. Yeah. So it's very possible.
Oh, wait, no. It was the Patriots, right? Because that was 32, and they used that to get Brandon Cooks.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe so.
You could be right. I
Because
totally
they
forget.
traded their first, and I want to say a first and a second to get Cooks. I can research that, but I know they used their
research
first, which
it.
would have been
or
the
if
32nd.
anyone listening remembers exactly what happened with the 32nd pick last year, definitely chime in. But I would not be. I've been saying for weeks now, I would not be surprised if Howie Roseman trades back.
Mm-hmm.
Dion says, I don't care where Sam Darnold goes. He's from USC. Like I said, any USC, and I know he said this on a lot of shows, any USC quarterback has been mediocre at the NFL level, at least in my time. And I'll be 40 later this year. and been watching pro football in college since '88. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I mean, there is Carson Palmer.
But I look at it, yeah, Carson Palmer was a little better than mediocre. He was good. He never really won anything.
Yeah,
but he was
really
good. My thing with that is that wave where they really were producing a lot of NFL quarterbacks was a different system before. So I kind of look at it now, and again, not every guy is the same. I know that they have this incredible history of not good.
Yeah.
It's like with college basketball, Villanova players. None of them are good when they come to the pros. They barely get drafted, and when they do, the only one that's been decent in the last 15 years has been Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Every other one, and I pulled this stat up, I believe there's 5 in the NBA right now. And he's the only one that averages double digits at around 16 for his career. And I think the rest were anywhere between 1 point to 6 points.
See, the whole thing with the
I think there was only 1 at 6, and everybody else was like 3 or less.
Yeah, the whole thing with everyone saying, Darnold is a USC quarterback, so no, I stay away. That definitely you have an argument. I don't watch college football much. I watch maybe like the playoffs now and how it is. So I'm not as knowledgeable as some other people there. So when it comes to USC thing, you guys are definitely right. The only one I can think of is Carson Palmer. However, as someone who I strictly
he's not reporting for Fox.
Mark Sanchez,
the other Barkley. Anybody remember the other Barkley? Matt Barkley.
Matt Barkley.
Dewey, he was on the Eagles. Yeah,
two of them, Matt Barkley and Mark Sanchez.
The way I see it is, you can always, for the most part, they don't pan out. But there's always an exception to, like you said, like the only one has been Kyle Lowry. Well, as an NFL team, if you believe in a quarterback, if you honestly think they check all the boxes, they're not going to hesitate to be like, okay, this is the exception to the rule. This is the one guy who, even though all USC quarterbacks have failed before, this is the one guy that we believe is going to do it. Now, me personally, Sam Darnold is fluctuating between my 3rd and 4th ranked quarterback out of the 5, and he's fluctuating with Lamar Jackson. I have Josh Rosen and Baker Mayfield as my top 2. Okay, and those are like, and I don't even have a top tier grade in terms of the overall draft, like where they are. Like my highest grade for them is probably around mid to late 1st round grade. That's how I have them graded. But with the way the NFL draft is and positional values, they're going to go in the top of the draft because the quarterback is the most important position. They're going to go in the top. But I have Rosen and Baker, and then I have a few other non-quarterbacks, and then I have Lamar and Darnold probably very end or early 2nd round grade. That's how I grade them, and I am just not looking at the USC part. I am skeptical of Darnold. I am skeptical of Lamar Jackson and his consistency from the pocket, but the person I am most skeptical of is Josh Allen. Everyone loves his arm. Everyone's falling in love with his dimensions and everything. But the thing is, for me, when I watch a lot more tape on him, I've seen someone. What's up, Greg? I've seen someone who
we got to run in
when it comes to mental processing and just reading defenses and making progressive reads. He struggles a lot with decision making, a lot of that, and he struggles with accuracy. It's there, I know people are going to argue he didn't have talent, but it's also another thing where you're just not throwing with accuracy to with good ball placement to your receivers. So he's the one that I question the most. So if the Browns, going to our poll question, if the Browns go Josh Allen, I think it's a mistake. So if I were them, I think the Browns should go either who did I say, Rosen or Baker. I think they have to go quarterback because Barkley is my top. He is my top prospect overall in the whole draft. But the thing is, I think at 4 they can get Barkley because I think the Giants are going to go quarterback, or they're going to trade down, and the team they trade with is going to go quarterback. And it's pretty much a guarantee the Jets are going to go quarterback.
Agreed.
So that's why I don't go Barkley anymore at 1 because I'm very confident he's there at 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first 3 picks are probably going to go quarterback, and
yeah.
you hit it right on the head. If the Giants decide they're not going to go quarterback, they can fill another need elsewhere. They could probably get a quarterback a couple picks back if they really wanted to. I'm going to be very interested to see what's going to happen with the Giants, though. It's going to have a huge impact on us.
Yes.
And
it's going to have huge. That number 2 spot huge impact for the rest of it.
He controls the draft.
I'm not going to act like I'm like a monster college fan because, again, we all know, and I say it on here, I don't know a whole lot. Just by what I've heard, Baker Mayfield seems to be the popular name. So, you have him in your 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think, if I remember correctly, I might not. I think Paulie had him pretty high around
I forget
the same.
I forget where Paulie had him ranked. He liked him. I remember he liked Baker too.
But I don't know. If I'm gun to my head, I'm saying they're taking Baker Mayfield just to fuck with everybody.
Well, for me, I think it's very simple. With Baker Mayfield, I think he easily – I don't want to say easily. I think he has the highest ceiling. But –
I know Miami hosted him.
They did. Yeah, and that would be interesting, Baker Mayfield in Miami. But, like, for him to get anywhere close to that peak potential, he needs to land in a perfect situation.
Right.
A lot of these quarterbacks do.
Exactly.
A lot of these quarterbacks do.
It's not like a Carson Wentz to where he can come into a directionless organization and just be
like
the
a
guy.
Wentz or a Goff, where they can pretty much step in within the first 2 years.
Which, with Josh Allen, I think the perfect comparison, not necessarily style, but situation that he would be in, he needs to be a Patrick Mahomes for a year. If he's going to get anywhere to where, as far as a value, if he's taken number 1, number 2 in the top 10 period, if he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in this draft, he will be taken in the top 10. For him to reach that value of a quarterback that was taken that high, he needs to sit out a year. I mean, it's just he's so raw, and I know that word is used way too much. Everyone uses the word raw when describing prospects.
But
it's
it's true.
But it's true, especially for a guy like him.
A lot of people don't like draft talk lingo and scout lingo and anything, but the thing is, it's
it works.
true.
It works.
There's a reason why we use it. But
yes.
you're absolutely right. I agree with you because especially with someone like Josh Allen, he needs. I'm with you. He needs to grow. He needs to develop with at least a year under his belt.
And go ahead, Carl.
I was going to say, John Malmus says Barkley at 1 and a quarterback at 4. So could they take Barkley at 1 and then go for Mayfield at 4? Do you think Mayfield will be there for them at 4?
No.
Do you think that whoever, whether it's the Giants or another team that steps in?
I think he could be. I think Baker definitely could be. The thing is, now with the Browns, which since you know, because like I said, if you're confident that Barkley will be there at 4, now who is the quarterback that the Browns want? Who is the guy that they're eyeing down?
Right.
Now, weeks ago, even last week, we were saying that the Browns, it sounds like all reports are saying it's Darnold that they have their eyes on. But just like yesterday, the reports are saying now that it looks like they're going to take Allen. So it's now that you have, with the Browns are in a good spot because they have control. They know that the best prospect on the board in the whole draft, Barkley, is most likely going to be there at 4. So they can have the luxury of saying, okay, now since we can go with our first overall pick and pick whichever quarterback we want, I'm pretty sure that's the route they're going to go.
Exactly. And who made that comment?
That was John Malmus.
So to John's comment, he said, Barkley 1 and then a quarterback at 4 of their choice. They don't need to do that because Barkley will be there at 4.
Yeah.
Because the Giants, I don't think they take Barkley. Okay,
I'd be shocked. That would shake a lot of shit up.
I'd be pissed before shocked because I wouldn't be happy about that. Right. Anyone that trades up with them, which I think will happen, they're not trading up for a running back. They're trading up for a quarterback.
Exactly.
So with every scenario in my mind, Barkley will be there for them at 4. So to Charles, your point, why not have all of the options, whether it's Allen, whether it's Darnold, hell, whether it's Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, whichever quarterback,
You have all of the options instead of saying, because the Browns, we all know they don't work well under pressure. Hell, they don't work well, period. So why throw a monkey wrench into it saying, hey, we'll discuss it at 4? No. Say, regardless, we're taking a quarterback at 1, and then they go. And the one hope I have for a Josh Allen, if he goes to the Browns, which I don't necessarily think that would be good for him at all.
Oh, yeah.
It could work
Yeah.
because they have a placeholder, Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor, right.
And the same reason why, and I'm sure we'll get to it later on where I actually have him going, they have a placeholder, Josh Allen. So I think wherever he goes, unless some random team comes out of nowhere and picks him, they have a placeholder for him, which is the best thing that could happen for his career, which can then propel him to have the best career out of all of these quarterbacks because there's the best situation for him.
And John Dorsey there in Cleveland, Ian Rappaport had this tweet yesterday, and I shared it on the group, and pretty much saying that John Dorsey has had a history of quarterbacks with strong arms, with rocket arms, with the exception of Alex Smith. So with Dorsey there, he's going to pick. If you go off history, he's going to lean toward the guy who has a big arm.
Yeah.
And the two who have the biggest arm in terms of arm strength is Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson.
Well, they're going to go. Well, number one, they're going to try and redeem themselves from when they screwed up with passing on Carson Wentz.
Yes.
So, who's the prototype of Carson Wentz, quote unquote? Which I don't think Josh Allen will ever be Carson
he
Wentz.
won't be. He won't
But
be.
the closest thing as far as build and promotional material, it's literally Josh Allen.
And Antonio Michael Bryant said, if I was the Browns, I'd go quarterback at 1 and quarterback and quarterback at 4. LOL.
That'll increase their chances.
They can't afford to get it wrong. LOL. Sorry.
Listen, I'm not recommending that. But hey, if you want to double your chances of having a guy that can actually play,
Hell yeah.
You could.
Trade the other one for
You could.
for a future first rounder next year.
we were talking a couple weeks ago on here about having a three-headed monster at running back with Saquon, Duke Johnson, and Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
Have the three-headed monster at
Yeah,
quarterback.
quarterback.
Tyrod, and then two of the draft
you
guys.
got your first and second down quarterback. You got your third down quarterback, and you got your fourth down and
Oh,
long
my
yardage
God.
quarterback.
But to me, and you guys already said it pretty much. There were people in our comment sections the last couple of days on Facebook saying, "Oh, the Browns control the draft." No,
it's a Giants.
it's the Giants.
yeah, the Giants are in a
Yeah.
really interesting spot.
Because I would say I understand where they're coming from as first, because if the Browns don't take Sam Darnold, I think the Giants are going to take Sam Darnold,
Yeah.
which that changes the entire first round.
Yeah.
Arguably the entire draft, because then you have people trading and giving up future picks and all that. That could change the draft dramatically.
Yeah.
Now, if it goes quote unquote according to plan, to where the Browns take Sam Darnold, the Giants trade back, I think that's honestly going to happen.
Okay.
I think the Jets will get Baker Mayfield,
Okay.
and then the Browns get Saquon. I think that keeps things
So who do you have
smooth.
going at 2?
Well,
With whoever trades up with the Giants, who
Well, that might depend on who trades up. That's
well,
the
there's a
problem.
team. There's two teams I've had an eye on. Number one is the Denver Broncos.
Okay. Good pick.
I think there's a team that's going to lap them though, because by all reports,
The Bills. Who's on the-
they're quote trying like hell to move up. They're doing what the Eagles did to go up against
The
Carson
Bills.
Wentz. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
They're going to get Josh Allen because they have AJ McCarron, placeholder.
Okay.
Josh Allen, big, stocky kid, big arm, obviously in that division.
Uh-huh.
As far as a future landscape, I think he would be great in Buffalo. I think he'd be much better than a Baker Mayfield guy, tiny, that wouldn't really, fit the whole landscape of a Buffalo Bills northern team.
Mhm.
I really think Josh Allen will go to the Buffalo Bills.
So first you got Darnold to the Browns.
Yep.
Bills trading up to 2, and then getting Josh Allen.
Correct.
Baker Mayfield at 3 to the Jets.
Yes.
That's a good haul. If I'm the Jets, I'm happy. If those two picks are Josh Allen and Sam Darnold in any combination, Jets, in my opinion, made out with the better quarterback, whether they pick Baker or Josh Rosen. Either or. Because I think those two are better than the other two.
And then I think it's going to come down to either Rosen or Baker at 3. And whoever's not taking at 3 will be going to 5, Broncos. And I think
Broncos.
Josh Rosen, given the somewhat comparison and connection to John Elway, a lot of people are comparing Josh Rosen to him as far as a mind,
Yeah.
which I think
Yeah.
is a little overstated, but still another placeholder, quote unquote, Case Keenum.
Is there.
I'm going to get back to the book. Clay Ferguson says Rams are going to collapse under the weight of their own expectations and egos. It could happen. Mike Parker, from earlier when we said hi to his kid, he said, he's sleeping on me, guys. You're boring him. Shut up, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
He's just messing around. John Malmus says the Eagles need to trade down and get a pick or 2. Dion says, we'll get to the Eagles soon, but I do believe they'll trade back to acquire more picks, a mid-second or a high third. Mike Parker jumps back in. What's up, Chrome, Chucks, and Brodo? What up, Parker?
What's up, man?
He said, my man sleeps 20 hours a day. Cut him a break. He only stays awake for The Godfather. Only your voice gets him
I
hyped.
like his style.
Oh, God.
This was towards Tom. He said, I see how it is. That was Tom chatting back with him.
Oh.
Brinkman says, Rosen didn't exactly get a glowing endorsement from his coach.
Oh, God.
I think it's calculated.
Can I
Yeah.
address that after? But go ahead.
Yeah. Let me run down these because there's a lot on here. Tom says, Rob, his face alone is a bad endorsement. #bust, #face test.
Agree. Agree.
Dion Brown says, Rodney, Pete, and Carson Palmer are the only two to have success of any type at the NFL level.
Okay.
Talking about USC quarterbacks. Agreed. And he said, I read a report that the Giants really like wide receiver from Maryland.
Oh, DJ Moore, Philly guy.
Oh, no.
James Wilder says, I wouldn't start any of these quarterbacks in year one. They should all ride the pine and develop, except for Mayfield. Dion says, exactly. That's why I believe he goes to Denver. Talking about Allen. And Antonio says, unless they know they got the best quarterback, then go Barkley. Dion says, Dion wants to know what the Tyrod deal was with the Browns.
I'll pull it up.
So Ryan's going to pull that
Speaking
up.
of, Charles, your question from earlier on what happened to last year's 32nd pick.
Yeah,
it was the New Orleans Saints. Basically, the trade to give away Brandon Cooks to the Patriots.
Okay.
It was Brandon Cooks for their first-round pick.
Gotcha. Okay.
Dion, Mike Lipinski says Allen and Barkley couldn't hurt, but the Dopes will probably trade one of the picks. Probably. Dion Brown, I think the Giants go pass rush in Chubb. Mike Parker.
They could.
Yeah.
They honestly could. But the thing is, with that, if they want to go Chubb,
holes.
they could trade back.
Yeah.
They could trade back if they want to go Chubb.
Yeah.
And who asked that question? Dion? Was it Dion that asked?
Asked about Tyrod Taylor's deal, yeah.
The Browns gave up a third-round pick, number 65 overall, for Tyrod Taylor.
Okay. And how long is he signed for?
I believe 2 years. I'll check.
2 years, right? Mike Parker says, can someone please cut Odubel's hair in his sleep? It's worse than OBJ ramen noodle head.
Oh. I don't know how he gets a helmet on it.
That's crazy. Dion says, the question is, will Joe Thomas return? If not, then they need a linebacker ASAP. James Wilder says, you could switch quarterbacks like Kapler switches pitchers. One down and switch.
Oh my
95 bullpen visits.
Ralph Delavecchia says, my guys, take Barkley. What's up, Ralphie? Love Ralphie. Mike Parker, where were you three in the #take a movie to the ball game?
Oh yeah, he slid in my DMs about that.
Yeah, I was working and getting ready for WrestleMania, brother. That's what I've been doing all week.
I totally missed that thread.
I caught it late.
Parker asked that, right?
Yeah.
I told him I turned off my notifications in that group, especially because that was on Easter, correct? I said I'll never sleep because I'm an admin in there. My notifications will just keep going.
You can't block anything. And I know this because I've been an admin in something. I tried to block certain things, and if you're an admin, you can't block it in the group.
And I look like Parker DM'd me I think it was at night, and he's like, where have you been? I'm like, I don't know where I've been. And then I saw the screenshot, and it's 500 comments. I'm like, that's where I've been, not there. I've not been there. Because if I was there, I'd still be there.
That's funny.
I'd jump back in, I'd take a look at it, but I ain't reading 500 comments, Parker. I love you, buddy.
And it's only he signed a 2-year deal with the Bills last year.
So he's
only on a 1-year stopgap.
Placeholder. Yeah.
Yep.
Parker says it had 605 comments in a day. That's epic.
That's crazy.
605.
Wilder says over 600. What do we got over on YouTube?
So Foolish Demon says Brown should take Sam Darnold. He's got a lot of good traits to be good. He also doesn't need to be thrown to the wolves just yet with Tyrod Taylor as a bridge. You won't get Odell. I'm not sure which team he was referring to, but that's what he said.
Probably Patriots. Or the Rams. Yeah. Probably with Roscoe's comment.
Foolish Demon also says, I think New England wants Bradley Chubb. But they'd have to trade up massively.
They're going to have to make like 3 more trades.
They're going to have to make maybe 4.
Maybe.
They have to give up a lot. Bradley Chubb is going to go like top 10. If not, he's going to go top 10.
Quick update. Sixers are up by 21. With 7:30 left.
Let's go.
Dude, they fucking smoke everybody.
Saric.
Without Dario and...
Yeah, oh my God.
Let's go.
Without Dario and Embiid, it's crazy
Simmons,
how good they're
I know
playing right
Simmons
now.
in the first quarter was taking over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going nuts. Foolish Demon did also say the Patriots traded the 32nd pick, which you confirmed. What is he? Clay Ferguson says, "Oh, he's over on YouTube today."
Yeah, he's jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
I like it.
He says Lamar Jackson's at 29. What I say to that is I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to fall that far. But if he does, that would be a great pickup for the Jags. Because I'm pretty sure we all agree with Bortles.
It's only a matter of time with Blake Bortles. I don't give a fuck what kind of commitment they make to him. that commitment, that pact ain't staying.
Yeah. So
Only a matter of time.
if Lamar somehow fell to 29, that would be a great pick for the
And
Giants.
I'd like to give Bortles the benefit of the doubt, dude, but I just don't see it. I don't get it.
No, I don't. He's not.
I don't know how they weren't all in trying to get Kirk Cousins. Fuck, they would have been so good if they had Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, they would be.
Here's a conspiracy theory. What if Lamar Jackson doesn't make it past 23?
To the Bills.
No, New England, brother.
Oh,
23.
New England. Sorry. I'm getting because that could happen. That could, like if he's, I still think Lamar Jackson's not going to get past the Bills in their, what is it? What pick do they have in the teens?
They have 12.
12. I don't think he's going to get past that, but
You think he's going that high? Wow.
because it's quarterback.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, then where's
think it's
Rudolph
possible.
going? Because he's the next guy.
Mason Rudolph is not sniffing the first round.
Okay.
If he somehow gets drafted in the first round, that would be like one of the most
unprecedented. All of these quarterbacks.
That would be like as bad as Bortles getting picked.
So
where he got,
my point was going to be, and that you just mentioned, as a person who doesn't follow it as closely as you guys, but I learned from listening to you guys and the other shows, just hearing how this team quarterback, like it literally seems like half of the league either needs a quarterback now or is 2 years away from needing that quarterback that's going to fill in. Like, it's crazy. And I guess because this is a semi-deep draft with quarterbacks, they may all need to develop, but that's a pretty damn good class if you're talking about five guys easily. Five first-round quarterbacks is a lot.
I don't even know if it's a representation of the draft, the quality of the class, because in my opinion, I don't think it's a great quarterback class at all.
There's no top-tier quarterback.
Yes. Right.
There's just 5 guys who were like, okay, I'll take him in the first round.
But guys that could develop into very good quarterbacks in this league.
I'll tell you what it is. It's 2 things, aside from that, because I do agree to an extent with what you said. Number 1, it shows the desperation
of the league,
Number 2, it's actually 3 more things. Desperation, number 1, as far as, teams that need a quarterback. 2, it's a copycat league because teams the last 2 years – we'll see a Jared Goff, a Carson Wentz, and a Deshaun Watson, just to name 3 that have come out. And then the third thing is, I still believe, we have guys like Carson Wentz, Deshaun Watson, Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo that are coming up, and they're going to be the new guys, aside from, the already established Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, to name a couple.
Yeah.
Transition. A few years, Drew Brees will be gone. Big Ben will be gone. Tom Brady will be gone, just to name 3.
Right.
Yeah.
We think.
Hopefully for that division and for our sanity, hopefully he throws the boots out the window and says, I'm done.
Put a leash on it, God.
Yes.
Giselle. Bring him in.
Shut it down. Shut it down, Giselle.
Brandon Kendrick says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Brandon?
What's up?
How you doing, buddy?" Now, that's the other end of it is the transition of a younger, more athletic league is now really picking up steam. All the really good teams now, with the exception of those guys, the Aaron Rodgers and the Drew Brees and the Tom Bradys, every other team, it's all young quarterbacks now. It's all young offenses that are being built. A lot of them are young head coaches now. You're seeing more youth infused into the game that are successful, not just guys getting drafted and just becoming guys. You're seeing more. You're seeing that changing of the guard. That excites me. Like, I'm happy to see a younger, hopefully quicker league.
And a conversation that we had last week when, Charles, you brought up the chance or even the opportunity for the whole quarterback market to change, where they'll that entire thing.
Yeah.
And I brought up, and I really do believe this, that quarterbacks are more than what they are on the field, because obviously I think we all believe and we agree that the quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports.
Yes.
It is the greatest position.
Yes.
I also consider it a marketing tool, not only for your owners, but your fans, obviously. If you have a young guy that you draft, whether it's 1, 5, 10, or 25, that's future. You can market that to where you can keep a team like the Browns, the Jets, the Bills from panicking because, or for example, in Arizona Cardinals, because right now they're marketing Mike Glennon and Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford is in the hospital more than he's on the field.
Yeah.
That's not smart, in my opinion. That's not a great marketing tool, especially in a division with 3 young core
Yeah,
quarterbacks
you're
and
right.
coaches.
You are, yeah, exactly.
So if you have 5, 6, maybe 7 quarterbacks taken in the first 2 rounds, and 5 of them are storing for the future, hell, 3 of those teams probably have aging quarterbacks that they're going to need to really replace in the next 1 to 3 years. So you have guys developed. You have guys that are being taught by a Tom Brady, a Big Ben, a Phillip Rivers, another team, the Chargers. Maybe they look for a guy in the first or second round, possibly. They're not just players that can lead your team. They're players that can lead your entire organization and fan base.
Yeah.
Because it's marketing. It's better for business if you have the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring up Phillip Rivers because I look at going back to the draft where him and Eli came out the same year. I look at them and I don't even think of Phillip Rivers as like old. Like I know he's been around now, but I look at it and as far as like the peak, obviously Eli, 2 Super Bowls, Eli peaked higher. But I feel like Phillip Rivers playing at a higher level has sustained more longevity. Like, I don't look at the Chargers. Probably at this point, you want to start looking at the next option. But, like, I still see Phillip Rivers, who's a guy that could get another 5 or 6 years in the league at a high level.
I agree.
He's still a top-tier quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's underrated. He's not talked about enough.
No.
There's no way if I had to build a team and pick between the prime of Eli Manning and the prime of Phillip Rivers, picking the prime of Phillip Rivers. Eli Manning, he was great. He's a great clutch quarterback. He played great in the playoffs in 2011 for that Super Bowl run. But let's be real, guys. That first Super Bowl, I think I've said it on the show before, that defense won him the Super Bowl, not Eli Manning. So Eli Manning has been awesome for New York. He's been what he is. He's helped win in the Super Bowl, but Phillip Rivers is very underrated. People don't talk about him enough.
James Wilder says, I just got stoned in the background with no pants on and added the spice. I'm like salt and pepper. No part of the meal, but not the same without me. LOL. Then I stumbled into bronze. Shrugs.
What's just happened?
He's
James, I love you, buddy.
I don't even know if that was
Brandon
even a
Kendrick.
sentence.
Brandon Kendrick says we need to trade for Odell Beckham Jr. Are we going to count on Josh Gordon to stay clean? Then what? So, Brandon, are you a Browns fan?
I'd imagine.
I would
so.
guess he's a Browns fan.
That's cool. I only know one, so that you would be number 2. That would be. I want to know more Browns fans at this point.
They're out there?
I legitimately was like, wait, is that like Brown? I hope so, buddy.
Yeah.
Because guess what? As much as I would hate to see the punchline of the NFL go away, man, if you're a dedicated Browns fan, and I know one guy that is, damn, like if there's any team that that they deserve a shred of success at this point, it's the Browns fans.
Yeah.
So, James says, Wilder, he says, a guy at work is a Cardinals fan, so when he tries to go in at the Eagles, I just started with Bradford Glennon, LOL.
Yeah.
He's a good sport about it, #disgruntled.
He doesn't have a choice. He has to be. Either that or he's going to be very upset for the next couple years if he's not a good fan, if he's not a good sport about it.
They still have David Johnson, so I guess there's hope.
Yeah, I mean, that's just – that division's kind of just has them handcuffed.
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
exactly,
is 9-7 going to get them a win? Because Bradford can't get past 8-8.
Yeah.
These guys are still doing the take me out to a movie or whatever.
Oh, take a movie out to the ball game?
Take a movie out to the ball
I'm
game.
telling you.
Captain America's pastime, the winter meeting soldier. I
might get to the point where I'm going to say, Mike Parker, I refuse to get in there because I'll never leave. I'll never get anything done if I end up in there.
Yeah. I'll have to, see what the parameters are of it.
Yeah,
Well, just blame Tom. He's the one that dropped it at 12 o'clock. Jesus Christ. And he's put the point finger, comment, and it's like, you're going to get 1,000 comments. It's probably at 1,000 now.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's probably getting there. I mean, they're dropping half of them in our group right now.
It's just overflow.
Yeah.
It's overflow.
God.
Wrigley Field of Dreams. They dropped a bunch earlier, too.
Oh, God. That's going to be a show title.
It is.
It's just that.
Foolish Demon says Browns aren't taking Baker. I think Allen has the highest ceiling. He's got the tools to go where you can mold him, and he needs to sit for a year. I don't want Barkley to another Ezekiel Elliott where I have to gate him for being on that team. Or hate him. Okay. Clay Ferguson chimes in again, says Allen will be a bust. The Browns would blow both QB picks. I guess when he's talking about take a QB at 1 and 4. Clay says Allen is a poor decision maker who relies too much on his arm. Full Steven comes back and it says coaching can help with that. That's why he sits a year. Also, if everyone expects him to suck, is he really a bust?
It's true.
That's true.
Low expectations.
Low expectations. But no, I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of people. That's the thing. Like, a lot of scouts, you have people who think that Josh Allen is the best, and then you have other ones who think that he's the worst.
You know what?
So there's a lot of variance with this class.
We see this every year for two different situations. We always see a player that's not a quarterback that will be the meteor of the draft. Like, for example, I believe it's the kid, you'll know him by name, Charles, the cornerback that had a fantastic combine. I believe he was on, I want to say Ohio State. He's a corner.
Ohio State corner. When was last year you said?
No. This draft.
Ohio State, who had a great combine.
Yeah, fantastic. It might be Alabama. You're more of a college guy than I am.
I'm trying to think because there are a few corners that. See, that a lot of the corners had great combines, so I'm trying to narrow it down.
I can pull it up in a second, but like, for example, for quarterbacks, there's always a quarterback, whether deserve it or not, always rises at the end to where, for example, this year's quarterback that rises out of nowhere is Josh Allen.
Yeah.
People could argue it's Baker Mayfield, but he's always been mentioned,
and
he's obviously the Heisman winner. They went far in the college football playoff. He's been notable. Sam Darnold, he's been a storyline for a couple years now. Same thing with Rosen. Arguably, Lamar Jackson was more of a story than Josh Allen 4 or 5 months ago, even 2 months ago.
Yes.
Maybe for the wrong reasons, but either way. Josh Allen, given obviously he played in a smaller, as far as flight in college football, he wasn't talked about as much. And I think that's where the comparisons come in with Carson Wentz and obviously the size and the arm and all of that stuff. To where, hey, he could be close to Carson Wentz, but he's not going to be Carson Wentz.
Right.
That's just very simple.
Yeah.
Greg Milakovic, after his run-through, probably after his Royal Farms chicken. I feel bad when you hit the bathroom later, brother. He says, what's up, fellas? Since going not a quarterback just isn't logical for that franchise, I'd rather take a chance with Allen instead of the other bums in this draft. Dion says, fellas, where do you guys think Lamar Jackson goes? And by that, I mean round-wise. Probably first round?
First round.
Late first, early
He's
second.
going to go first round. There are teams that are high on Lamar Jackson, too. It might not be a lot, but the word is that there are like maybe a couple or few that really like Lamar Jackson a lot and will take him in the top half of the first round. So I'm telling you, I think the Bills are, if they stay at 12, I think that could be a prime place. But the thing is, you could also make the argument that they just exiled Tyrod Taylor from Buffalo. So why would they want someone who's the same style? And I mean, like, they don't have their games. Lamar Jackson has way higher ceiling than Tyrod Taylor. But the thing is, obviously their styles are based on mobility and taking care of the football. They don't turn the ball over a lot, but you could say that the Bills probably won't want that type of quarterback again.
The cornerback, I found his name, Denzel Ward, Ohio State.
Denzel Ward, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he's really gone up as far as stock. People were arguing last week that he could end up going, fourth to the Browns, given that they just lost one of their corners, I believe.
Yeah, a lot of people have him as the unanimous. A lot of people, especially the mainstream guys, have him as a top corner. I don't, and that's nothing against Denzel Ward. He's great. The thing is, I have Jair Alexander as my top corner because he played all of the 2017. He played hurt, but they needed him desperately, so he played hurt to help, and he still had good tape. But if you go back to 2016, this guy, his awareness, his football instincts off the charts. He's in every play. So with Denzel Ward, he definitely could go top 10 as well.
So here's a question for you guys, a little mini mock draft, okay? Top 5 at this moment. Gun to your head. How are the top 5 picks going to pan out? Who are the teams? Who are the picks? 1 through 5.
So one,
I'll defer to him. I could just tell you, I think at least 3 quarterbacks are going to go to the top.
And I think
and
you're
a
right.
running back. I don't know where the 5th pick. Maybe an offensive tackle.
So you're basically guaranteeing the first
I'm
4,
going
and Denver
positions.
Broncos are because I think you're right. The first 3 are going to be quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The 4th is going to be a running back.
Yep.
The 5th, Broncos. Who the hell knows? Could be another quarterback.
I
Could
say
be a quarterback.
I agree.
I say quarterback. I think it's going to be it, and I'm basing it off of reports too. So this is not what I would do. This is how I think it's going to unfold. I think based on previous reports, Browns are going to go Allen. I think New York Giants are going to go Sam Darnold. Jets, I think, are going to go Josh Rosen, and then Browns are going to go Saquon, and then Broncos are going to go Baker.
Huh. All right.
Gun to my head, that's it could go a totally different way, but if as of right now, that's how I see it unfold, and I think the Jets and the Broncos would make out with the better quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
At 3 of 5.
What do you got?
For me, I have Sam Darnold going number 1, the Cleveland Browns. Number 2 via trade, I have the Buffalo Bills. Ending up, it's probably, if I'm going to go, technicalities here, it's probably going to be a 3-team trade because the Browns are going to have to. I doubt seriously they're going to go from 12 to 2. I believe they're probably going to go from 12 to 6 to 2, or 12 to 8 to 2.
Yeah.
They're going to have to go stopgap. So they're going to trade up with a team. For the examples, I don't have the order right in front of me, but for like the 49ers, for example, I could see them moving
9.
out of there. Maybe the Bears, 2 teams that can afford, given there's not the big name guy that they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Bucks and the Niners could trade back.
And I think the Bears, given I don't see they already have their quarterback, they got a wide receiver, they have the running back. So I don't think unless they want to go offensive line with like the 8th pick, for example.
Yeah, they could.
So I have the Buffalo Bills.
They could go Tremaine Edmonds. They lost Ralph Freeman. They need a linebacker too, so they could go linebacker.
True.
They could go Roquan or Tremaine, but they could trade back as well.
I have the Bills moving up to 2, and given this is going to be, this could happen literally right before the 2nd pick because there's like 4 teams that are going to be in competition. It will. It's the Bills. I think the Dolphins are in the market. I think they're going to try and trade up.
100%, yeah.
The
a lot
Broncos.
of uncertainty now with Tannehill, not even just because of how the production's been, but you're coming back from that injury. That's going to be tough.
The Broncos have the easiest chance, given they only have to go from 5 to 2 instead of 11 to 2 or 12 to 2.
Yeah.
And I think, this is going to be tough, given I don't know how much draft capital they have. I think if I'm the Arizona Cardinals, I try and move up. At least if they can't move up to 2, move up to 7, move up to 6 or even 8. So I think there's going to be a lot of movement in the top 10. But like I said, I have Bills taking. I have them taking Josh Allen number 2 via trade. 3, I have Baker Mayfield going to the Jets.
Okay.
He's going to join the team that already has Teddy Bridgewater and Josh McCown.
He's going to the East Rutherford Jets.
4, I think it's going to be a great day in Cleveland as far as excitement because they're going to get their quote-unquote guy and Barkley.
Yep.
And 5, I think they're going to pick up the scraps. Whoever's not scraps, some people would say scraps, but whoever's not taken by the Jets as far as a quarterback, they will get. I have Josh Rosen going to the Broncos.
That could happen too.
Quick update. Sixers are up 95-73. We're less than a minute into the 4th quarter.
Let's go.
Flyers are down 4-1.
They could have. They had the opportunity to clinch a playoff berth.
Yeah, it's during intermission. And the Phillies and Mets are still tied at 0-0 in the top of the 6th.
I thought you were going to say they're still in snow delay.
Oh, God.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
They are still in a snow delay. And the St. Louis Cardinals, by the way, are winning 4-0 over the Brewers. So my whole pick of the Brewers, if you watch the whole fucking baseball roundtable, is not looking good right now because it looked good the first series, but now the Cardinals are beating them, which I'm okay by that. By the way, I'm okay with that.
My 88 wins for the Phillies isn't exactly looking great at the moment. And listen, I'm ready for all the comments being like hashtag.
That's baseball.
Is it really?
Just want to make sure.
I thought it was curling.
They use bats.
I'm waiting.
Balls.
I'm waiting for the comments, by the way, to flood in. Against me saying it's only 3 games. I know. I'm embellishing. I'm joking. Am I though? I'm joking. Am I though?
We only got 5 minutes left on Facebook, so if you want to jump in with any questions on Facebook, guys, get in. Before we go to this, before we get to the second half on YouTube, Dion says, when we get to the Eagles, strongly believe the Birds need to pursue Cortland Sutton from SMU. He has all the intangibles to be very good at the next level.
I do like Sutton. For a bigger wide receiver, he has good movement skills, a lot better than I thought He's a lot more explosive than I thought. But the thing is, with the signing of Mike Wallace, I don't think at 32, I don't think they take a wide receiver. I think if they're going to take a wide receiver, they're going to trade back to day 2 and possibly take one there. He wouldn't be the guy that I prefer, but I wouldn't be mad if they did take him because I can see why people are high on him. Foolish Demon did ask me a question. He said, "What do I think of Dorian O'Donnell from Clemson?" He could see him move all over the place in Schwartz's system. To be honest, I haven't done full research on the linebackers past the top names like Roquan, Tremaine, and Rashawn Evans and Van Der Esch. So when I do, I haven't gone through all the positions yet, but when I do, I'll let you know. But I'll keep an eye out on him.
Well, so next week I'm probably not going to be here because I'm going to be in New Orleans for WrestleMania. Paulie's going to be back next week. We're pretty sure of that, like 98% sure. Charles is going to be here. So if you really have those real in-depth late-round questions, definitely bring those next week because Paulie's your guy to ask for that. This freaking guy guy knows the draft from every round and guys who probably won't get drafted.
That's what he does all year round.
You know, especially he works for NBC Sports in Philly, and a lot of his prime time for them is NFL draft. That's where he's their featured guy. So definitely save any of those questions that you come up with over the week and tune in next Tuesday to make sure that you guys get a chance to talk to him about that.
Next Tuesday we'll probably be doing a mostly draft heavy show. We're gonna today we focus on the top of the draft. We're probably gonna focus on Eagles at 32, and then day 2 and day 3, like prospects all from the middle and late round. So yeah, if you're one of the guys that really go in depth with the draft and you want to know more beyond the top guys, definitely tune in next week. Bring questions, bring comments, your opinions, anything. It'll be a good discussion for the whole show.
The NFL draft's in 3 weeks, correct?
3
weeks from Thursday?
It's coming up. Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah. The 26th.
It's coming fast, dude.
Yeah.
It's coming fast.
Yeah.
Like, get ready. Spring's almost here. April showers bring May flowers, motherfuckers. And that shit was raining today.
That's one way to put it, yeah.
That was some rain today, bitches.
It's still raining out there.
I know. Now, so real quick, though, gun to your head, who are the Eagles taking at 32?
Oh, hell. No one, because they're not going to be there.
Not gonna be
if they stay in the spot, who do they take?
Oh, hell.
Or what position do they go? I think they go tight end.
I don't know if I necessarily – it's probably going to be tight end. I don't know if I like that, though, given – I don't know if I love using a first-round pick. I know it's the last one on a backup tight end.
I think they go tight end or they go tackle.
I think –
I would go tackle. I would go best available tackle.
Based on who they've brought into workouts and the positions they've leaned heavily on, it's been running back and linebacker. It was defensive line, but – with them acquiring the guys that they did, I'd be surprised if they went the defensive line again. I think that it's going to be either a running back or a linebacker in terms of position. If it's going to be a running back,
you still think they go linebacker with re-signing Bradham and Hicks coming back? You think they go that high for linebacker?
I think Hicks they don't have in their long-term plans. I think
he's a huge question mark.
I understand he's a question mark, but the talent is so good.
Oh yeah, the talent is so good.
And now you have the insurance having Bradham. I think you can be a little more patient.
But the thing is, they play different spots on the line. They play different spots on the second level, so they could need a middle linebacker who could replace Hicks. Because none of the guys that they brought in this year, Corey Nelson or the guy they signed today, neither of them are those guys.
I didn't even hear who they signed today.
Yes, depth. Someone.
Yeah.
My fucking work sucks, so
why do I forget his name now?
I'm just kidding. I love my work, but it sucks because I can't keep up with anything over the last few weeks.
It could be a linebacker. If Rashawn Evans is there, he could be a guy. If it's Leighton Van Der Esch, who I'm a little lower on compared to other people, but I could see him there. But again, running back is where I'm probably going to lean. I think that if Geis is there, I am absolutely pounding the table, screaming at the TV, running to the podium myself to get Darius Geis. But I don't think Darius Geis is going to be there. If not him, then my next ranked running back is Sonny Michel. Yeah. A lot of other people like like Chubb. A lot of other people like Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna go with Sony Michel, I would go Ronald Jones. With Nick Chubb, he's just you need more of a home run hitter and an electrifying playmaker. And I think Michel and Ronald Jones are the two guys that would fit that. So
Yeah. Last two comments. We're gonna head to break. We're gonna jump off of Facebook and continue on YouTube for the second half. Deion Brown says, if they stay at 32, I say they go linebacker, and I could see if they do a running back as well. He said that right before you did, so he was in the same mind frame as you. Bill Stopfer, Bill's my buddy. What's up, Bill? Bill says, whoever they take or trade back for more picks, all that matters is that we won the fucking Super Bowl.
Hey.
Yes, that's right, buddy.
Amen.
Listen,
Amen.
we're going to end the first half of the show on this, okay?
Yep.
All the hate, all the fucking cockroaches that came out who today said, oh, Villanova, they're not a Philadelphia team, this and that. All the Arlington Cowboys fans, all the East Rutherford fucking Giants fans out there. Let me tell you, what we can all agree on is the Eagles are the Super Bowl champions.
Woo!
The reigning. And there's only one Super Bowl champion right now, and it is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I agree. So just a quick reminder, so anyone that's on Facebook at the moment, I'm going to drop the link on the actual post. So right below the question where we give you the 4 options, there will be a part where it says second half of the show. Click the link. We're heading over to YouTube. So just click that. You can watch the rest of the show over there.
Yeah, so if
quick click away.
If you joined us on Facebook, please join us on YouTube. If you can't join us on YouTube, thank you for joining us on Facebook. Same with Periscope. Join us.
And
yes.
one tease, we have a certain person on the other side that sent us a message, so we'll
All
get to
right.
him on the
All
other
right.
side as well.
You know it's that
I
time
wonder
of the
who
week,
that
guys. Deion says he'll see us on YouTube all day. World champs, my man.
we got a lot more, guys.
First half of the show. Oh boy, that's just
It's
a
coming.
tease. It's a tease. First half of the show brought to you by Gibson Mayer LLC. Guys, April 15th is right around the corner. There are certified public accountant. Make them yours. GibsonMayer.com. Scanzano Sports, the poll question. We'll continue to talk about that on the other side. Live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. Chrome Chucks, Ryan Brodo. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to Birds of a Feather live on A2D Radio. Live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, BMW of AtlanticCity.com. Second half of the show brought to you by Stream Smart. Our poll question brought to you by Scanzano Sports. We talked a lot the first half. Who should the Browns take with the first overall pick? Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, one of the other quarterbacks, not a quarterback. But first, before we dig into the comments, you hear the music, and that only means one thing. It's sweeps time.
It's time.
It's time.
I tried to do my best impression of that UFC announcer.
Yeah.
Didn't pan out.
Bruce
Maybe
Buffer.
next week. Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Sweeps is chiming in. We love when Sweeps does his weekly drop-in.
Yes.
What's Uncle Sweeps got for us today?
So if you're just joining us, you'll remember that. Oh, he's typing, by the way. I can see him through the typing bar.
Oh.
So there's more coming.
All right.
So earlier in the show, we brought up pretty much at the moment our mock drafts, at least for the top 5.
Okay.
So Sweeps went out of his way to give his top 5. So what we have here, he says, "What's up, boys? My top 5 goes as follows."
All right.
Okay.
Uncle Sweeps.
Number 1, Darnold.
Okay.
Number 2, he says Barkley goes to the Giants. He says Giants need a quarterback, but can't skip this talent. They can grab Mason Rudolph in the second round.
Fair point.
Third has Josh Allen going to the Jets. Fourth, the Browns goes with Minkah Fitzpatrick. 5,
Okay.
Baker goes to Elway, goes to the Broncos.
Okay.
Then, so this was earlier. He was commenting he loves his intro music. Only for you, Sweeps, no problem. He says, and at the Eagles at 32 take Penn State freak tight end, you know him, Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
Then he says weapons, more weapons. Then he says, great show, boys. Thank you, Uncle Sweeps.
Thank you,
Uncle
And that,
Sweeps.
at the moment, was a moment with Uncle Sweeps. I don't know
Dynamite dropping,
Yay.
if he
Sweepsy.
chimes in more, I'll be sure to let you know.
Dynamite dropping, Sweepsy. Those broadcasting classes are really starting to pay off. I love when Sweeps drops in.
Yes.
He's awesome.
But guys, yes, we're talking Eagles, we're talking NFL draft. We're going to get more into not national, but other Philadelphia sports right now, including our national champion Villanova Wildcats. 2 out of 3 years national champions. Let's talk about that game. Let's jump into that game, guys, because it was quite interesting. Hell of a game for Villanova.
Scary early on.
First, I would say 7 to 8 minutes of the game, the first half, were scary.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing, the games they lost this year, primarily predicated on living and dying by the 3, and they did not shoot the 3 very well. It started that way. Wagner seemed to be having his way with the middle of the paint early in that game, but he blew up real quick. He was gassing out real fast.
I was gonna say it was probably fatigue. Given what is he? What age is? Or is he a sophomore? I don't really know.
I can't remember.
He's definitely not a senior.
Yeah.
Correct. So probably he was an all-time high after the game. 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago. At this point, probably an all-time high. Like I'll compare it. I compare everything to golf, for example.
Yeah.
Like for example, anytime someone wins a tournament, usually if they're playing the next week, they don't do as well given all of the stuff they had to do, media, service time, all of that stuff. There's a lot of attention on them. That's uncharted territory. Now, I'm not saying that's why, this certain player kind of fell off. Could be inexperience. Hell, it could just be a bad night.
Right.
But either way, he was the shining star for them in the most recent game. Just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I would say to your point on, with Villanova, it was scary. They were definitely in uncharted territory to where they couldn't get a shot to go down. They were down. I think they were down by, 11 at one point?
I don't think that much.
It wasn't that
So
much.
it was not. It was definitely, I think.
I think it was 9.
It was
no,
9.
No, because
Sure.
at one point they were up 9, and they said it was the biggest lead of the game. I think they were down 7, maybe
7 or
at
8.
one point.
You're probably
Or you know what it was? It was probably they were down by 7 for a while, and it felt like they were down by more, given that they were
felt
completely
like
out
they
of
were
control.
Yeah.
It felt like they were trying to dig out of a hole. I felt like early in the game they were missing shots, and then they started to force shots. There was no ball movement. They were running down and just popping up shots.
Yeah.
I thought Brunson struggled a little bit
Yeah.
Struggled a lot. And Pascal, he was driving me fucking nuts on defense. He looked. I said to him, it was like watching Jahlil Okafor again. Like, the dude looked totally lost on defense, particularly in the first half.
Yeah.
But, our savior, our ginger savior, Dante DiVincenzo.
31, right?
Dude
Dropped 31.
Dropped 31. I think he had all of the bench points. They had 31 bench points, all the bench points. And did you see some of the talent that he was, like, hitting, like, matching all-time numbers with? Danny Manning, and they had a whole list of the guys where it was talking about, like, the bench points and all that.
That's crazy.
I mean, he had an all-time performance last night, and it couldn't have happened at a bigger stage. And every shot he threw up when he was hitting them, I mean, they were as smooth.
And they were at crucial times. They were when.
Dude, they were deep three-pointers.
Michigan was whenever Michigan like got momentum and felt like they were gonna go on a run, he would just hit a three and it's like done. You know what I mean? Like he came up clutch, and not even just on the offensive end, the defensive end. He had that one block.
2 blocks.
Oh my! But the one I'm talking about was when the guy had like pretty much a clear lane, and then he just went straight.
Block.
The two-handed. Oh my God! That was a crazy.
Or the
play.
double block that got sandwiched in between the net and the or the rim and the backboard.
Yeah.
So Sweeps chimed in. He says Villanova, they trailed 21-14 at one point, and they closed the half on a 23-7 run.
Yeah, so it was 7 points. I thought it was something like that. Yeah, and what was crazy was, like, real talk, they looked like absolute dog shit outside of DiVincenzo that first half.
Yeah.
They looked terrible.
Yeah.
And as bad as they looked, they were still up 9 points at the end of the half.
Well, you know what that comes down to?
Crazy.
Comes to the guy that's not even playing.
Jay Wright.
Exactly
Absolutely, it's Jay Wright.
They were still the whole time though. They were still hustling. They were getting rebounds. They were getting boards. It's just like it wasn't.
The first 6 or 7 minutes, the defense was not there.
Oh yeah, the defense wasn't there.
And I believe they gave up a couple turnovers early as well.
Yeah.
And they were and again they started pressing. They were missing easy layups. And I was worried the first 7 to 10 minutes of the game, and I here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt like that kind of a night was going to happen. But again, you got that jolt from our little Ginger buddy coming out there, and as soon as he went out there, it changed immediately. The intensity of that team seemed to change.
Yeah.
And Jay Wright, I mean, you can't say enough about Jay Wright as a coach. He has an amazing program that he puts into place that guys buy into. And what I love about Villanova's program is you don't see the guys coming out after 1 year.
Correct.
You know, you can build a program where these guys – Brunson was there for both national championships. I mean, he has a program where guys buy in and are well coached. Now – again, we talked about, do we develop a whole lot of NBA talent? No, but Jay Wright's going to go down. Jay Wright, if he was smart, could be the next Coach K, and he will stay in Villanova. He doesn't need to go to the pros. He will be paid very handsomely, and he will be a Hall of Fame legend quarterback. I've got football in my mind. He will be a Hall of Fame legend head coach 100%, and I love his passion. I love he's just such a grounded guy. Like, I love how they talked about just how embedded in the city he was.
Yeah.
You know, they played a game. He stayed in the city with his family. When the Eagles won, he was out with the fans.
He was, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's all you could ask for is a guy to be a part of the community.
Mm-hmm. Side note, well, first off, a Sixers update. So with just over a minute left to go. Well, that
stupid shitty Flyers game.
He's got the hockey.
No, they're coming back. They're down by 1 now.
Oh, okay.
With like 9 minutes
I'd
left.
rather watch the end of the Sixers game.
With just over a
much
minute left to go in the fourth, the Sixers are up 116-89. Quick shout out once again to Marco Bellinelli stepping up when not only Embiid is out, but Dario is out, dropping 17 points already off of the bench.
Nice.
Absolutely fantastic. Obviously, J.J. Redick with 19 points. Ben Simmons now final.
Now final, yeah.
For Sixers?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. So final 121-95. J.J. Redick finished with 19 points.
They are blowing teams out every
Yep.
game.
Ben Simmons. And this is without Dario and Embiid.
I know.
Ben
crazy.
Simmons
What's
with
his,
15 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists.
Well, you're starting to see that next man up mentality. Bellinelli, Ilyasova,
and you know
they're all stepping up.
And they probably did the same thing with Simmons they have been doing, to where they take him out halfway through the fourth, to where if he stays in there, he's going to get another triple-double. But Fultz comes in.
Yeah.
He gets 10 points, 2 assists. And 2 rebounds and 2 assists, to where, listen, continuing with that, just continuing. So, overall, man, you know, I know this time, I think it was Wednesday, Embiid went down and it looked like the sky was falling. And listen, we never want to see a guy like that go down, especially given this has happened before. But this team, like, I remember I was watching even the local channels. People were saying, oh, you know, the chance of them being a 3 seed or a 4 seed is dead. There's a chance they could either be the 5 seed or the 6 seed. It's like now they're even closer to 50 games, which I don't even care about personally. I care about resting and setting up for playoffs.
Yeah.
But this team can still win. And imagine if the rumors are true, if Embiid is only going to miss a playoff game or no playoff games at all. Dario, they're saying it's not serious. Obviously, he's not going to play tomorrow.
Right.
But that's precautionary.
You don't need him to play right now.
Listen, I'm going to say it again. They're one of, if not the hottest team in the NBA at the moment. No one, except for, you know, a core group of us in the city of Philadelphia, expected this.
Yep.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It really, truly is.
So, how do you guys feel about Fultz to this point?
Go ahead, Charles.
Tie
game.
3 goals in the
Was that
third.
Claude Giroux?
Is that Claude Giroux's
say that was-
30th? I could if that
Fucking dude might
if
be
he
having the
scored-
best season of his career.
he
man.
is. Oh my god.
How much time is left in the game?
6:56.
6:56.
Oh, we might get a live
Tie
reaction
game.
to clinch in the playoffs here.
Oh,
Ooh.
boy.
We might get a live reaction.
Wait, what's the score of the Florida game?
Oh, they in Florida?
Florida had to lose.
I'll
today.
pull up the score.
I can
But-
pull it if you need
I got
to.
it.
Oh,
I
you
got it right here.
Cool.
Yep, that's G. 30th goal of the season.
Good to see Giroux.
Oh my gosh,
All right,
clutch.
Giroux.
Woo! That 3 goals in the third period.
Yeah, they're up 1-0 over the Predators. The Panthers are up 1-0 over the Predators, heading into.
Well, as long as the Flyers keep winning, we're in good shape. Like,
Oh, absolutely,
yeah.
dude. Handle our own business
yeah.
before we worry about anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what was the question?
How do we feel about Markelle Fultz?
From what you've
I'm
seen from
fine
Fultz
with-
to
I'm
this
fine
point,
with
how
him
you feeling?
sometimes. Like you can tell that he's still getting his footing back.
Yeah.
He's still getting into what we want to call basketball shape. But you see the flashes. Like, he'll make plays every single time he's out. I don't want to say every single time, but like every game he'll make plays. We're just like, oh man, there it is. It's like like for today's game, they were at oh damn, the Islanders just scored.
We got to worry about the Islanders too.
God, no,
That's who
we're
they're
playing
playing.
They're playing the
Oh,
Islanders.
Pardon me, I'm over here.
Short-lived comeback. Oh well. Still about
We had our
6
fun
and a
for
half.
30 seconds there.
Yeah, 20 seconds. So, in the end of the first quarter, like on our way here, I had the game on while driving. Don't do that. Don't do what I do. But it was the end of the first quarter.
Do what I do.
It was the end of the first quarter.
Do as
and
I
he-
say, not what I
He
do.
drove. It was like they were going 2 for 1, and it was their last possession before the end of the first. He drove, and I don't know how he fit. He dished it off to I think it was Ilyasova between 2 defenders, and it was just like that type of playmaking ability. That's what we brought him in for. You know what I mean? So it's I like where he's progressing. I think it's good that he's on the bench right now, getting his feet wet, getting his legs under him, and getting those backup point guard minutes behind Simmons. And I think by playoff time, I said it last week, I think you could see where come playoff time, he's going to start to be playing crucial minutes for us.
Yeah, he'll be more of a contributor for sure. How you feeling, Ryan?
You know, for me, we kind of discussed this last week. For me, I wasn't expecting him to even show his face this year.
Yeah,
I really wasn't.
Me neither.
And this is going to sound crazy, and I said it last Wednesday, but I was never in a serious situation where I was worried about the kid. And I know that's people are going to call me absolutely nuts. They're going to say I'm lying because there's a lot of reasons to
I'm with you, yeah.
Worry about the kid. But for me, I just went back to it took Embiid nearly 3 years to get on the court, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It took Simmons. They basically redshirted him. Whether you liked it or not, listen, I hated it. But they did, and it helped him. I honestly think the NBA should be doing this, period. And I think over the next 10 years they're going to where they don't, whether they're picked 1 or 30, it doesn't matter. I think they're going to spend a year either red-shirted or in the G League or as a bench player. You know, they're not going to ask them to step in. Obviously, there's going to be teams that need to, just like when we talk about quarterbacks, there's teams that bring them in because they don't have anybody else. But, you know, for me, I knew when the second he was drafted, I never compared him to Simmons. I never thought he was going to be the type of player he was. I think Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are in the flight of superstar.
Yeah.
Transcendent.
Yeah.
You know, Hall of Fame talent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Fultz can't get to that point, but I've considered it very simple. Embiid and Simmons are superstar. Fultz is star. He's a star.
Yeah.
I'm not calling him a role player. He's a serious factor, but he's a star. He's a perfect complement to, I think, Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons can work the ball around to everybody. He makes everyone better. Fultz can score the basketball. And I know that's cliche. I know it's like, oh, of course, he's in the NBA. Of course he can score. But listen, there's some guys that are just passers that can set guys up, a la Lonzo. I think that's a certain guy that, you know, is more of a passer. He's going to, you know, pump up his stats via the assists and the rebounds, or more lines just the assists. Fultz is the perfect package. And given he was able to play, just get his feet wet a little bit. And people were making the arguments, oh, is that the best thing for the kid? You know, personally, that's up for the kid to decide whether it's best for him, because by all accounts, he's the one that was making the decision to stay out that long. It was his decision. And he was the decision to play that first night last Monday.
When he played, right.
He's the one, according to Brett Brown and all of the higher-ups in that organization, they were saying, hey, when the kid's ready, he'll let us know. And he did. And listen, I think he is. I think he is ready.
Right.
This kid is clearly an NBA talent. That's why he was picked number 1. I understand people want to throw around bust, given, oh, he had only played 2 games, and that's fine. But I kept saying, let's see what he is when he actually plays.
Right.
Absolutely, it was a setback. This guy, I will say it again, he is the perfect complement to Ben Simmons and Embiid. He may not go down as the best player coming out of this draft, but situationally for the 76ers, he was the best guy to go after.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
100%. And whether they want to use him as a secret weapon, quote unquote, as a bench player, as depth, either way, he's going to go into that role and he's going to make it work.
Yeah, and I think when I see him play, he has a different energy about him, and that sounds corny, but it's true. He has a different energy than when you watch him play the first few games in the beginning of the season. He has more confidence. He's taking, you know, when things aren't going his way, he doesn't seem to be becoming unraveled or anything like that. You know, he's still going out there. He's taking his shots when the opportunities are there. He's making plays on the defensive end. He's finding open guys when there's an opportunity there. And that's what you want from your point guard, right? I think that, you know, he's not trying to put too much on his shoulders that a lot of number 1 overall picks tend to do. Whether they're in this situation or not, a lot of number 1 overall picks feel like they need to prove that they're why they were taken at that number 1. It seems like he's taking a very, I don't want to say cautious, but a patient approach to getting reacclimated to the team and to being in live action with, you know, on the NBA level.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine with that. I think
am
Brett
too.
Brown is handling it the right way. Whether we agree or disagree with how the organization conveys things to us, it seems like everybody's on board with the path and the approach that they're taking to reintroduce him into the program and set it up so where he can be a contributor playoff time. And I'm very encouraged by what I'm seeing. I don't feel like he's being put in any situations that are going to be detrimental. And again, I like that he's going out there and he's taking his shots. He's not shying away from it. And I'll tell you what, his free throws alone look 1,000 times fucking better. 1,000
they
times
look like actual
better.
free throws.
The first time he went up to the line,
I was waiting to see what that was going to look
I
like.
got so, again, just like when he played, I didn't know how excited I was going to get. It just hit me. When he went up to the line, I didn't realize how scared I was going to get for the kid. Because I'm thinking to myself, if he airballs this first one, this could ruin everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because you don't think he had, like, listen, maybe I'm over, you know, dramatizing this, but you don't think he had flashbacks to the months and months of him in that freaking court and that performance center and that training center just Foul shot. Foul shot. Foul shot. The months where he couldn't make one. Listen, good for the kid. And to your point on he was taking the cautious approach to where he wasn't worried about getting in there immediately because he was taking number one. In my opinion, especially given, and I know it was the quote-unquote controversial interview session after his first game where he just looked at the reporter, which I'm not a big fan of that either, but at the end of the day, he's 19.
The criticism is fair.
It's fair.
But that should go more towards the organization for not properly preparing him for that.
I don't think he cares what people think. I think he's in his own bubble,
either.
and I think that's the biggest, most important thing I think a player, especially at the age of 19, can have.
You know who I think he cares about? I think he cares what Embiid thinks and what Simmons do. And not in that sense, but he looks to them as big brother type of guys.
Isn't that crazy?
And I think,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
but the fact that they're
amazing.
big brothers.
But I truly believe, like, for him, if he's sitting back and I'm looking the overall thing, not just the play on the court, but he's worried about, handling things the right way or wrong way.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that he wants to make sure that he's doing proud. And Brett Brown. That's who I think he gives a shit. As far as any of these other guys out here, out in the media who want to ask questions and have opinions. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith wants to run his mouth like he always
just
does.
go yell to yell. Like,
Dear
dude,
Lord.
just yell about someone else. It's fine.
Or any of these guys out here who have an opinion, which is their right. I don't think he gives a shit what they have to say. And listen, again, I'm not saying the criticism, some of it was wrong, but it's also steered in the wrong direction. It's got to go towards people, PR people for not prepping the kid.
And the thing with Stephen A. Smith, other than him just being a friggin' fool in that rant where he was targeting Fultz, a kid who, he's 19, first off, Stephen A. That's not an excuse, but at the end of the day, he's 19 years old. He's going to, listen, and he's around an organization that are complete idiots. Like, listen, like you mentioned on, the Sixers organization, they don't make the best moves. I've been saying this for years. There's two big differences. It's the team and it's the organization. And the players, as far as the team, the talent, is canceling out the organization to where no matter what Brian Colangelo does to a certain extent, or the medical directors, or the owner, or anything, regardless, if these guys can play, it cancels it all out because they don't have to do anything. They have to worry about getting an Ilyasova and a Bellinelli just to help these guys. That's it. And then if they're at number one, if they're at number three, hell, hey, Brian, you don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
Like, listen, like I think we were talking and agree to disagree last week. We were saying, someone said, like, oh, well, Brian, he's drafted really well. Well, first off, he's had 2 drafts. Ben Simmons was at number 1. Hell, the Sixers were number 1. The lottery balls did better than freaking Colangelo.
Right.
And 3, you had a guy you traded up, and you took a guy. I love Fultz. I'm glad I have him. But you took a guy that took him 6 months to get on a court.
Right.
So Brian, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
I'm
with you.
I'm still skeptical of Brian Colangelo. I don't like him. I'll say that right now, and I know a lot of people agree. I don't like the guy, and part of it maybe have to do with the way things were handled and how Hinkie was pushed out, and pretty much the Colangelos were pretty much pushed onto the organization. That's part of it, but even at that point, I was like, I'm willing to give Brian Colangelo a chance, prove it to me, and he hasn't done anything to prove it to me yet.
The Hinkie thing, though, I feel like there's fault both ways with that because he's such a stubborn guy that just wouldn't come off of his way. And I feel like from things I've read and seen, aside from his incredible memoir that he wrote, it just seemed like, he had his way and he was going to do that. And if anybody had anything to say with it, he was more than happy to take his ball and go home.
Well, and I agree, like, in one perspective, especially when they were ending a season with 10 wins and it took them, 2 months to get a win? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to look bad. It's going to look really bad, especially in a city like Philadelphia to where a huge market, passionate fans, fans actually care about their teams, but 2, a city where the other 3 teams really weren't doing much. Yeah. So it was more of a glaring issue.
Yeah.
I think, first off, listen, I can get heat for this comment, but I think if the beginning of the process was happening now, in a situation in a year where the Eagles and Villanova just won championships. I don't know if it's that big of a problem.
See,
I think it goes.
I disagree. I think
You think it's even bigger?
I think it highlights them even more
Because City of Winners, and that, you know what, that's true because the same thing is happening with the Phillies, to where we were the City of Winners for months, and then it's like, oh, the Phillies, they're ruining this. Oh, the first 3 games, what? This team's not winning?
Yeah,
because the Sixers are on the winning streak, the Eagles are the champions. That's true.
I think the time when there was a downswing in Philly sports, it was all right. The Sixers stink. But everybody really did at that point. It was kind of just biding our time.
It was directionless, yeah.
So,
But the thing is, part of the reason why I think that people bought into Hinkie was because he wasn't like he's like shady about the whole thing. He was up front. He said, "This is what we're gonna do because this is how you get good in basketball." And I think that
he worked
even
the system as the NBA has the system set up. And
worked the system.
The problem is the system, in all honesty, is pretty flawed. I mean, they make it so the only way that you can compete is to stink for a long time and just continually accumulate assets until you hit the jackpot.
And
I absolutely,
it took us the Michael Carter
you need
Williams,
superstars.
and all these fucking guys, Nerlens Noel, Okafor. I had no problem with the Okafor pick, though. And when they took him, you had to make that pick.
Yeah.
But, again, you never know. Yeah. Just because a guy's a consensus top 1, 2, 3 pick doesn't mean he's going to be a hit.
Well, to Charles, and I agree with you, that system was you have to fail to win.
There's one right there.
Who was it?
What's Anthony Bennett? Was the number 1 overall draft pick by Cleveland.
Oh, God.
Who fucking stunk.
Yeah.
What a flop he was. He was worse than when Joe Smith was drafted by Golden State back in the day.
Sam Hinkie was very straightforward. He was very honest. He didn't lie about anything. He basically told people, I'm not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
You need to fail to win. To where you're going to have, like, for example, I forget who said it on Facebook, but someone had said the Browns should take a quarterback at 1-4 to increase their odds of actually landing somebody.
Yeah.
Well, in Sam Hinkie's mind, it's like, okay, if we suck for 7 years.
Did you give up on the game? Is it over?
No, it's over.
Did they
Flyers
score?
lost 5-4.
5-4.
So much for that live reaction of clinching.
Yep.
But, for example, if you suck for 7 years, and listen, I wasn't happy that they sucked for 4 years. Or they were an embarrassment.
It was tough.
It was really tough.
It's tough.
But you have 7 chances to land your guy.
Well, here's my thing. With the NBA, making the playoffs in the 5 to 8 seed doesn't mean shit.
It doesn't.
There's so many teams that make the playoffs. Honestly, that's the mediocrity point. I'd rather be on the far end of either side than sit in the middle of a 5 to 8 seed or within the 9th and 10th in striking distance. Because all those teams settle in mediocrity all the time.
Exactly.
And it's at that point where and again, this is where Hinkie said we can do it, and nobody else would. Nobody wanted to be the one, well, we're a playoff team. We're not that far off, and everybody tries to make the moves, but you're not a powerhouse. The NBA is driven by powerhouse teams.
Yep.
San Antonio's been on top since the fucking mid-'90s or late. When Jordan retired, San Antonio became the powerhouse for years up until about 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, I'll go, and I agree, first off. I'll go back to when the process started, when this all began. And we were in a situation where every year, and to your point, a big chunk of the NBA does this, to where they're either irrelevant, where they're just scrapping into the playoffs and they're not doing anything. They won't even win a playoff game. They'll run into a LeBron team or a Golden State Warriors, and they'll be the hub for, aging veterans that are way overpaid and they're just looking to get a contract, and that's all they're doing. That's the path we were heading on. That's what we were doing, to where
that's where we sat for a long time.
Yes.
After 2000 and that NBA Finals run in 2001, that's where we sat for years and years and years.
And the reason why we all know that, it's because every time when we watch these Sixers broadcasts, when you have first time to 48 wins, first time we've had 10 straight wins since, and you know what every time it was? Ever since, and it's the same year. 2001 and before. It's like from 2001 to what? 2011? It didn't even exist. No one's bringing back memories, highlights, records from those years. That's 10 years.
Yeah.
And it was 10 years of scrapping into the playoffs. Oh, whippy, playoff berth. Out in 5 days.
Yeah.
That's the days of the Rodney Rogers
there's
acquisitions and Derek Coleman.
Yes.
I always liked DC, but Derek
Yeah, I know,
Coleman's and Corey Blunt's.
We were guys.
and these fucking schlubs.
Iguodala was the face of the franchise.
And
Okay, he was our best player. When you as a Sixers fan are trying to convince yourself that Iguodala can be the face. Oh yeah, maybe Drew Holiday can be a superstar. Maybe Evan Turner can develop into something like when you
I
try
believe Drew could possibly be the guy.
he could be, I didn't think he had all like superstar potential. I think obviously he is an all-star. He made an all-star team, but you know, you get my point when you're trying to convince yourself that these mediocre or just good or really good players can be your superstars, that's when you know you're in trouble.
I was getting sick and tired, and I know all of us were, of the days where our most notable players were Andre Iguodala and Samuel Dallenberg.
Yeah.
I mean, those were that was our lives as Sixers fans.
I
Lou
forgot
Williams.
about Sam.
To where when
Lou
when the process began and we all looked at ourselves in the mirror and we asked ourselves the same question, that was, as a fan, will you accept sucking for 3 to 10 years? Because we didn't know if it was going to ever end. In order, and eventually, this team has a chance to be a dynasty or run into multiple championships. We all ask ourselves, would we do it? And for me, I thought to myself, I'm 14 years old. I have time. You know,
I was in on day one.
Listen.
I was the minute he said it. I was like, and trust me, I was when he traded Drew Holiday, who was supposed to be our young star of the future, like our player of the future. I was like, wow. But then when he said that this is how we're going to build, and he explained it,
Well, he was an asset
that's when
to
I was
move,
like,
right.
that's when I was like, all right, I buy in.
But interesting because you brought all those different names up. Look at the guys who were put together even on one team that were supposed to be the core of the team, like the core.
I know where you're going.
The guys built around Lou Williams, Andre Iguodala, Thaddeus Young,
Oh, Thad.
Drew Holiday. Where was another name I had? Kyle Korver.
Oh, my God.
But here's the thing. What was proven was that in this city, we were convinced that these were the guys.
Yep.
And they weren't bad players.
No, not
But
at all.
we were just a team full of role players without one or two catalysts that every successful team needs to have.
That's exactly my
Andre
point,
Iguodala goes to a winning team, goes to a team that's built to win, and fits his role. 10 to 15, 16-point guy, defensive shutdown player. Boom. Thaddeus Young goes. He's a guy. He's
A role
banging
player.
around down at the bottom. Guy plays a good role, decent play. He's what Indiana now, I think. You look at Lou Williams, best sixth man in the league.
100%.
Kyle Korver, for the last decade, one of the
Three-point
best three-point shooters we've seen.
Drew Holiday.
On countless teams, winning teams. Drew Holiday.
Starting point guard.
He is where he is. He's a very good point guard. I would say that he can be the point guard on a team that has two
By far, yeah.
star players.
Well, that's exactly where I was going.
Exactly.
To where
But-
it's in a league where if you do not have a top 10 player in the league,
You're not
you
going
have
anywhere.
zero chance of not only winning the finals, but in most cases, making the finals.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Exactly.
I wish it wasn't. I wish
Right.
it was a league where you have, say, for example, 8 teams or even 6 teams that could realistically win a championship. Hell, I'll take 4 teams because I don't even know if there's that.
Yeah.
I think there's probably 3, maybe 4 if we go deep into it. But
Yeah.
either way, that's just not what the NBA
Exactly.
is.
Yeah,
There's
and-
going to be top tiers, and it's going to
Exactly.
be everyone else.
Right. And then, but I mean, it's proven that we were put under this whole, not a spell, but we were sold a bag of goods, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't bad. It tasted decent,
Wasn't good enough.
but we weren't getting the creme de la creme. Now, these guys could go elsewhere and be huge contributors, like very good NBA players.
Yeah.
But what you're to the point with Hanky came in and said, you can't win with this, but there's assets here. Move the assets, acquire, and I get all that. My knock on Hanky was I don't know that when we were going to finally turn the corner. I'm still not convinced that he was going to be ready to start the build and trend up.
Your argument is was he the guy from when we started winning? Can be the guy for us.
So I will give you the perfect example.
Okay.
The Philadelphia Phillies. Ed Wade. Ed Wade knew young talent, but Ed Wade knew young talent.
Yep.
Ed Wade knew how to build a core, a farm system, and he did it. But when it came to finally pulling the trigger on the right moves to provide that success on the major league level, he was way over his head. A guy like a Pat Gillett came in and took what Ed Wade built and took it to the next level. Now, I'm not saying Brian Colangelo's taken us to the next level, but
no, he's coasting.
What I will say is with what Hinkie built, I feel like Colangelo was the guy who at least came in and I think this was the right time to make the turn. I'm not convinced. I think Hinkie was going to go another 1 or 2 years.
I disagree for one reason. I think this process would have ended and will end regardless of who was the GM. It ends with one guy, and you know exactly where I'm going. Because while Hinkie was, talking about you have to fail to win, young guys, he also talked about making Philadelphia a destination again.
Right.
Yeah.
For years. This process would have been forced to end and would have ended at the same point with a Brian Colangelo, which it will, or a Sam Hinkie if he was still here. It would have ended when LeBron James came here. Because
or
the process,
a big name free agent.
Yes,
I'm just not convinced that. I think we still would have had another 2 years of this,
and that's fine. And you're probably right in realistic standpoint. My whole thing is, if LeBron came here regardless, if Hinkie and Colangelo, whether or not the one is at the head of this or the other, if it both leads in the same path to where we are right now, if it didn't cause a rift in this whole destiny track that we've been on the last handful of years, if we would have ended up with Fultz, Embiid, Simmons, Dario, we'd be at the amount of wins we are, the exact same situation. It would have still ended when LeBron signed the check in the contract to come here. Because why? Unless Sam Hinkie is a complete idiot and complete fool, which he wouldn't have been allowed to be if LeBron was here, how could he continue the process with the best player in the world? It just couldn't happen.
Yeah.
But to me, for them to let him go tells me that whatever interactions and everything that was going on behind closed doors, they had every reason to believe that it was going to continue trending the way it was going.
I don't think so.
That's how I feel about it.
I think it was more so the league was tired of the Sixers and Hinkie taking advantage of the system.
Yep.
I think they're.
I agree.
I think that's why they were put into place.
They're making us look like fools, and then so they're like, we need to do something about it.
No, but I think that's why. But I think the league made the call and said, all right, this is where it's gone, time to turn. But I think that was the time to make the turn and start trending on the upward. And I think that they've done that. And if Colangelo's the face of that, so be it.
I think I'm with Ryan.
You're talking about LeBron, right? I don't think we would have been in the position to where we're at now had LeBron or to have a shot at LeBron at 33 years old. I think we would have now been where we would have been 2 years ago.
I disagree on one thing, okay? And you make a lot of good points there, but my whole thing is, and it ends with this same timeline. They didn't stop. They didn't turn the corner last year. As much as they were trying to promote that, like, we're winning now.
Right.
No, they weren't.
This year.
No, because you know why? Because there was probably 2 months where Embiid was tweeting out playoffs.
Yeah.
Sixers were tweeting out, here they come. They're here.
Yeah.
Embiid's here. They showed the world and the entire league that they weren't done with the process, and they didn't turn the corner when they shut him down.
Yeah.
When they kept Simmons out.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
You know how they lead that press conference? They start talking draft. If you turn the corner, you do not start talking
you don't give a shit
draft,
about the draft.
mid-season.
Right.
Yep.
So I agree while Sam Hinkie was more of a wild card, he was more unpredictable. He was not league friendly by any means, especially in a major market like Philadelphia.
He kept raping everyone else in trade.
If he was in Utah or in
I do miss
Phoenix
that.
or in Charlotte or down in freaking Florida, I think the league would have been not fine with it, but they would have shrugged it to the side because that, no offense to those markets,
They're
not
Philly.
Philadelphia, Boston,
Right.
LA,
Right.
What have you.
They're not a top 5 market.
They're not. They're not in New York. To where it was in Philadelphia, it was coming off of a year to where they had 10 wins and it took them nearly a month to get to 1.
Right. Yeah.
No direction, wild card, big time embarrassment.
Well, listen, I've said it numerous times. The first team to have the process was the Houston Astros, who Jeff Lunau got hired from the Cardinals organization and came in and said, we're going to stink for 6 years.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, right on fucking cue, as long as he said they would stink, they stunk. They build up assets, and then boom, what happened? They came up 2 years in as providing a destination that a Justin Verlander would want to get traded to and waive a no-trade clause, that a Carlos Beltran would want to go back to and try to help groom the young kids and provide support and a little pop in the lineup every now and then. They built that kind of a system. The Sixers aren't the first team to do it. They're one of the most effective at this point to do it.
They're the
But
most highlighted.
The Houston Astros are the first team in any professional sport that I can think of that put the process in place.
Agreed.
Gotcha.
Now, with that conversation being said, question for you guys. We'll talk about it tomorrow on my show, but a little preview for it. I have a question. So, with the Sixers talk being said, obviously we talked Eagles earlier. Phillies obviously to come and Flyers. And obviously after this Villanova win last night, people are labeling this city #the City of Champions. I know we've used that hashtag a time or two, and we will continue to because it's so damn fun to use it.
It is.
It's about time.
It sure is.
So we're going to ask tomorrow, and I'll ask you guys now while I have you. In the next 10-year window, and I'll ask the chat as well, how many championships will be won in Philadelphia in the next 10 years? So keep in mind, obviously, the Sixers. We know where they're at. The Eagles, they're the best team in football at the moment. Everyone's coming at them. The Phillies, who the hell knows? And the Flyers, we would like to think of them as a playoff team, but no guarantee at the moment. We think.
So if I'm all right,
Okay.
so I'll go team by team.
You want to go first?
Yep. In the next 10 years.
I think the Sixers could win 2. I think the Eagles could, under Carson Wentz, win 3. I'm not convinced that the Flyers are going to win a championship.
Neither am I.
Wow. I'm going to be okay, go ahead.
And
Isn't this interesting, though? Like, you got to think
go
about
ahead,
that for
go
a
ahead.
second. Yeah.
I'm not even convinced that the Phillies are going to win one, but I'll say 1. I'll
Next
give the
10?
Phillies 1. And I'm not even kidding. If you want to throw college in, I think Nova could win another 2 national
Yeah, let's go.
titles.
Let's go Nova.
I think Nova can win another 2 national titles.
Yeah.
With Jay in the next 5 years. I think Villanova, with the program that Jay Wright has in place right now,
Yeah.
and with the guys that are coming back to the team next year, and hearing about how great their recruiting class is, I think Nova could win another 2 national titles within the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. So, with just the pro teams in the next 10, so you have 3
for the Eagles.
3, so that means 4 in 11 years. Oh my God!
I believe it could happen.
Oh, I'm not
This
far
one-
away. I'm not far away. I just love hearing it.
I believe that the Sixers could win 2, so that's 5, and I'll give the Phillies 1.
So 6.
I'm not convinced that the Flyers are going to win anything.
Okay. So, Eagles, I'm going to say 2. Because it's so difficult in the NFL to win a Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And if you're going to talk about the all-time great quarterbacks, like winning 2 Super Bowls is a monumental achievement. Like Peyton Manning won 2, and the second one he won when he was hardly a capable quarterback, So I'm just gonna go and I'm saying safe. I sound pompous by saying safe, but I'm gonna say 2 Super Bowls for the Eagles.
I definitely think it's realistic. I don't think
I think
it's
so.
not. I definitely think that's realistic.
Yeah, anyone outside of Philly will say we're being pompous, but I mean I'm serious. I think Wentz is that good.
But the
I
thing
think
you have
2.
to remember, too, we're one of the few markets that has 4 major sports teams. So
Yeah.
6 sounds like a lot, but it's
But
really not. Like, you talk like with the trend that these teams are
Yeah,
going,
yeah. They're all trying.
like maybe I'm stretching. Maybe it is 2 is probably more likely. I'm giving the Eagles a little more credit because I think Carson Wentz is an X factor.
Yeah.
That could get us to 3.
You're just talking about 2 guys,
Right.
a quarterback and a coach.
Like,
and we love both of them.
There's no doubt in my mind because if the Sixers, whether it's LeBron James or it's Kawhi Leonard or it's the Greek Freak,
Durant
whoever
in a
comes
year.
in,
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, they get one of those guys, they can win 2 titles with
yeah.
Embiid and Simmons easily.
I might be disappointed with only 2.
I think I might be
But you're
falling
only talking
short.
about 10 years.
I
though.
think I could even be falling short on 2 with them, but I'm just
Yeah.
going to say 2.
Yeah.
We'll say so. I'll say
The Phillies, I'm giving a little bit of credit.
Just
to.
because of young talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so 2. I'm going to say 2 for Eagles. I want to say 3, but I want to say 2. Sixers. I'm going to say 3. All right, so that'll
There
give
you go,
both.
Charles.
that'll
there
go-
you go.
That'll say because it's
I
in the
agree.
NBA. There's no
10,
parity.
9, 8,
Once the
76.
I think once the Sixers are contenders, they are contenders, and they will be there for a while. So I'm gonna say 3 for the Sixers, giving the Eagles and Sixers 3 championships in a 10-year span each. So that's 3 right. So Eagles 2, Sixers 3. Phillies. I'm not gonna say anything about Phillies because I don't know. If you're gonna ask
Charles
me,
is going
this
to
is
say
someone.
10.
Pass.
Someone,
10.
I'm gonna say pass, but if you're gonna put a gun to my head, I'll say none.
Okay.
You're just gonna put a gun to my head, but I don't know anything. So
At the moment,
I'm
it
just
says
For
like-
him,
like
just
baseball
claiming that,
doesn't
yeah.
even exist, so those titles don't count.
For the Flyers, I'm going to say 1. I think that once you see, and here's
Maybe
you
in
guys,
the
you guys
10th
say
year.
no.
Maybe in the
no,
10th
no,
year.
No, I was about to say that.
Yeah,
No,
oh.
that's what I was about to say. I think it's gonna come down to the very last 9th or 10th year, because here's the thing: the with our Hextall we just talked about Hinkie and his long-term plan. The thing is, that's been Hextall's plan. He took over Holmgren. Holmgren left a mess. Salary cap rise, like an absolute mess. We had like $2 million in cap space and had so many bad contracts when Hextall took over. So he came in and he said, "It's going to take me a while to shed these bad contracts and to draft well and build our farm system." So now you're starting to see that our defensive prospects have come up. You see Provorov, who's going to be an absolute star. You have Gossespear, who's found his game once again. Konechny is starting to look like a stud. So you have all these prospects coming up. The trump card, the X factor, in my opinion, and I said it the day he got drafted, is Carter Hart. That goalie has superstar potential.
That'd be nice.
And I'm talking about like Jonathan Quick, the next Jonathan Quick, who can come in, and if he lives up to that potential, he can carry this team to a run instantly once he's in his prime. So that's why, and it's going to take him another 2 years to get into the league. So you have that, you stretch it out 2 more years, you get more draft prospects coming through the farm. I think that it will take several years for them to build up that core, to get it going, to be a contender. But I do think if you're giving me that 10-year span, I think they can win one within that 10 years.
So in your total
6.
6. So I'll go to YouTube real quick.
Yeah, we got some dropping in on YouTube.
Very exciting. I love these. So Dion chimes in. Says this may be the first time since the 80s where the Sixers have 2 bona fide stars on the team, i.e. Simmons and Embiid, and both can score. Imagine if we get a shooter coming off the bench. He says that can give us 13 to 20 points off the bench. Sixers are next up.
Mm-hmm.
Foolish Demon says in total 6. The Eagles win 4.
I like it,
That
buddy.
means 5 and 11. Oh, I've got the wings going.
like it.
I've got the wings
Let's
going.
Go. Let's go. I am down. If that happens, I'd be down.
And Sixers too. So that means in an 11-year span. What is that? Oh my Lord. What else we got? David Roscoe talking about Trish Stratus. Love it.
Alexa Bliss, I see too.
Yes.
It's the only thing wrestling Charles is into. Alexa Bliss.
David said Trish
Or I
Stratus
should say he would like to be.
He
into
says,
Alexa
let's read the
Bliss.
quote, because he says Trish Stratus should take on Alexa Bliss to win her great 8th time. I would, if that was the match, I would tune in and be like, oh my God.
For booking reasons, no. For entertainment reasons, sure. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Have you seen, like, of course you guys have seen, Trish Stratus to me looks better with dark hair than she
Well,
does.
guess what? When I go down to WrestleMania,
Damn
she's
you, Chrome!
She's going to be at WrestleCon, and rest assured, she's on my list of people to meet.
Oh,
So.
gosh.
Charles, why do you think he's taking next Tuesday off?
That's true.
Yeah. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like
Cover,
that.
guys.
Moving on. Let's see. Foolish Demon says, I think we repeat next year, then win in 2022. Very specific. I like it.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Dion says 4 championships. Will/could be 1. Eagles with 2. Sixers with 2.
Okay.
Let's see. Dion said Phillies in 2026.
2020. Well, Foolish Demon said 2025. That's where the 4th title is going to be. I
Yeah.
think.
2025. Yeah.
Let's see. Foolish Demon says, I think Philly is the next Boston. Yeah, enough with Boston. It'd be nice if they.
I'd
if
say
they go
I'd
a little south.
screenshot all these predictions and go back in like
And see-
2025,
yeah.
guys. But my phones are probably going to crash like 17 times between now and then, and I'll lose it.
Well, they'll be in the cloud.
Yeah, good point.
Okay. Nobody tap into my cloud, guys.
The Mets just beat the Phillies. If anyone,
Cool.
Phillies put up 0 points on the board. So,
Cool.
like you said, Chrome, cool.
Are you
cool.
sure it's a good time to start watching, guys? Are you sure?
I can only imagine what Kapler did.
Well, see, the best way to learn is to see all the wrong things that are done, and that's how you learn baseball, by watching
That's
a manager
true.
do all the
That's
wrong
true.
shit.
So I think either way, whether you have,
But the Cardinals are winning 4-1.
oh, good. Like you said, Chrome, cool,
Cool.
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 So recap. So you have 6 total, Chrome.
I have 6.
I have 6 as well.
Very interesting. I
I
think
think
either
we-
way, it's.
I'll be
Did I have
interested to
6? I
hear
had
yours
3.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm
2,
gonna save it for
3,
tomorrow.
Yeah, save
1.
yours.
Yeah, I had 6.
Because I
had
would
6.
probably, if I name it mine tonight, it'll probably go up by like 3 tomorrow.
Make
You
sure
know what I mean?
Make sure you reference ours tomorrow.
Oh, I will. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying with
And
these-
make sure you say that I was giving the Flyers some love. and
Oh, of course
no
I
one
will.
else was.
You watch the Flyers; they'll end up having the most out of anybody. Just because, like,
I did have one quick question for you guys.
Shoot.
Before we head out and close up, with Embiid's injury and seeing that the Sixers are still steamrolling, would you guys say this injury is a blessing in disguise for someone like a Ben Simmons, who is now forced to step up and be the guy and lead the way? Do you think this is making him learn how to be the lead guy, and in the long run this could be good for his development?
No.
Because I think that if you look at it, Embiid had to play obviously last year without Simmons, and
Yeah.
we all know Embiid is an alpha type personality.
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, what did we say? Some of our concerns were he was a little tentative, conservative. He wouldn't pull the trigger at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean the
know what I
critics,
mean?
the main critics were saying, just given his relationship or his reported relationship with the people at LSU, they were saying that he wasn't necessarily the best to get along with. He wasn't the best to work with. He wasn't taking it seriously. But at the
He
end of the day,
wasn't assertive in his play.
an 18-year-old kid who knows he's the best in the world once he touches the NBA.
Yeah.
I like Foolish Demon. He says you can watch the Cardinals 12th in 18, 12th World Series in 2018. I like it. Sorry, I had to get that in there.
I'll pass.
I got somebody on my side. Thanks, Foolish Demon.
I'll pass, Foolish Demon.
No,
But it's a good question, but
I don't at all, because I feel like Ben has stepped up with Embiid in the lineup and still been the guy. I mean,
Okay.
it's one guy off of the other. It's never a good scenario when your superstar center's out of the lineup. I think Ben has shown with Embiid in the lineup that he is still the guy. He's still putting up triple doubles every fucking night. He's still being an elite player. LeBron James, King James, has already anointed him the next, like, baby LeBron. He's the Prince or whatever.
I love this nickname for him, the Fresh Prince.
He's the Fresh Prince.
I love that nickname.
And LeBron doesn't just say those things about guys.
no. God, no.
It's because he's showing it.
Yeah.
It's because of his skill set and what he's when he's finally played this year and shown what he can do in this league.
Yeah.
So I don't think we needed to see Embiid get hurt. What I think is good, and it's not, and I say that very delicately is that when Embiid does come back, fresh legs. That could be good for playoff
That's
time.
a good point.
That's the only semi-positive I see out of it. I don't even know if I'm convinced when he's going to come back yet. But
yeah,
when he comes back, fresh legs.
There's three main reasons why the answer to your question is absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, on the Ben Simmons thing. Like, I understand, especially for him in his quote-unquote rookie year, even though I don't consider him a rookie, his first year in the NBA, playing at least.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good for him as far as experience to have to put the team on his back. I think that's going to be a very big learning tool, obviously. I don't look for that to happen in the approaching weeks of the playoffs. You do not. I do not look for that. You have all season to do that. What do you got? What's Foolish Demon? I know it's Foolish Demon, right?
Foolish Demon said, well, Villanova proved that Philly needs a backup to help win a title. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl as a backup for a redhead. A redhead backup helped win a national title. It all comes full circle.
It all makes sense now.
It's a ginger world in Philadelphia, baby. We're taking over. The Ginger Gang is taking over.
It's true.
Did you? Go ahead. I'm sorry, you didn't finish.
No, the only thing I was going to say after that is you have all season for Ben Simmons to show his true value. And listen, I think Embiid is the most dominant player on the court whenever he plays. I think he'll be one of the most dominant players in the NBA very, very shortly. So I think it's going to be very hard for Ben Simmons to be the most impactful whenever he's on the court with Embiid, just given how good Embiid is, not because Ben Simmons isn't dominant, because he is, but just Embiid's just one of those guys to where you just can't compete as far as domination with him. But I don't look at a blessing in disguise whenever someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's for a day, a week, a month, period. And when I'm talking about heading into the playoffs for the first time in years, since 2012.
Yeah.
And it's a young kid. I mean, Embiid's still very young, and it's a young team. And there's even a question. Even there's a 1% chance that Embiid can't play in any given night, regardless of playoff series. I don't like it.
Yep.
I don't like it one bit. And the other thing people aren't mentioning, he's going to have to come back with a face mask.
Yeah.
No one plays good with the face mask. And someone who's a big man that's reliant on drawing fouls, another element. Listen, I know there's the clear face mask. Hell, I've never played with one. You understand? So I can only go so far with my assessment of it.
Yeah.
I can assess what I've seen with other players, and they can't stand the freaking thing.
Except for Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, which, hey.
He's like the... Yeah.
Hopefully Embiid's the next Rip Hamilton. But
Listen,
for me, anytime...
I hear.
let's be real. The only person who's ever had success with a face mask is The Undertaker. Okay?
I wish I had The Undertaker.
That meme was great, by the way.
And Bane.
And Bane. There you go.
Well, he wasn't really a player,
By the
but
way,
I understand.
To your-
I know.
To your point, right? Kobe Bryant, his rookie year, Shaq was out.
Yeah.
He tore his he had a hernia in his abdomen, and yeah, it was bad because I believe it or not, that's when I became a Sixers fan. Was going to a Sixers-Lakers game when Shaq was hurt. So I grew up. Shaq was a quick backstory. Shaq was my favorite player growing up. He actually got me into basketball. So I liked Orlando, and then when he went to L.A., I liked L.A. And then I went to, it was Iverson's second year. This is when the Sixers had Eric Montross, Doug Overton, Jim Jackson,
97.
Jerry Stackhouse, Mark Davis. It was not a real great Sixers team. But I went to a game, and I was going to see Shaq for the first time, and Shaq ended up having the hernia in his abdomen. And Kobe was in that game, and I remember Kobe had a huge dunk in that game. And just going to that game, though, and watching Allen Iverson live is what turned me into a Sixers fan. That night, I've been a fan since that day. That was Tim Thomas's rookie year.
Okay, yeah.
Now, my point of getting into that was I could guarantee you, I know back then L.A. wasn't saying, well, Shaq's hurt now. Now we can really see what Kobe has because Kobe had shown the flashes with Shaq in the lineup. He was coming off the bench that year. It was the next year where they started coming into their own. But at no point does anybody say when your superstar all-star center is hurt, do you say, well, at least the young kid's going to get to be able to show what he has now. No, it doesn't work that way. And I agree with Ryan. There's nothing ever that's going to make me say, okay, it's good that my superstar is going to miss time, particularly right before the playoffs. He's had 70 games to show what he has, and he's done it in spades. I didn't need Embiid to get hurt to see more.
Good point. No, that's a good point.
So on the point of where we were talking about guys that perform well with the mask, Foolish team puts Cody Rhodes.
Yes, absolutely.
What was his gimmick then?
That was dashing Cody Rhodes.
And then
But
what
then
was his?
and then Rey Mysterio fractured his face.
So what were they
So he
called?
had to wear the
Ray.
mask, and then you had like the
There you
dark
go,
thing
Ray.
where he's like, my face is like.
Yeah,
his
I
face
thought he
was
had
all
a name. I thought it was like Darkness Cody, not Darkness.
No,
Cody
he,
Rhodes.
you know, he
was
was
it just
still-
Cody Rhodes?
Yeah,
Oh, I'd-
Yeah.
but
Oh,
that was
brother-
great.
yeah.
Another great call there.
By the way, did you
Foolish
guys
Demon's on fire.
Yes, he is.
did you guys see what Dr. J said about Ben Simmons earlier?
No,
I
please
love
read that.
it.
Once in a decade, maybe once in a lifetime player.
There it is. That's the
Yup.
greatest player in our franchise's history, and
I
he is.
agree with it.
He's a generational talent. Both guys. You're lucky if you come across one generational
We
talent.
have two.
You have two generational talents on this team.
It's crazy.
There may not be a center in the history of the league with the overall skill set that Joel Embiid actually has.
And plus, it's not like their talents overlap each other. They're completely two different types of games. You have a big man center who's dominant, and then you have your all-around, just do it all point guard.
Yeah.
In Ben Simmons, they complement. They don't clash. There's no like you know what I mean. It's not like we have a small forward and a shooting guard who are both scorers. We have two guys who can play seamlessly with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about like greatest of all time at that specific position. I'm talking about the talent skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
Yeah.
the only person that is in that conversation is who is he compared to all the time? Hakeem Olajuwon. It's the only player that has had this much of a range in a skill set.
Yeah.
It's insane. And I mean, I look at Ben Simmons and I see without the shot LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
He's that much of an impactful player on the floor. I believe that over time his shot will develop more. He needs to work on that shit
Whoa.
big time.
There's
And you know how you do it? You bring LeBron here to work with him.
not to dial in on what Markelle Fultz was doing to where it's like, oh my God, he's shooting in practice, guys. Oh my God. Ben Simmons has been doing that a lot. I've seen videos of it
Oh, in practice.
in practice, pregame. Listen, I honestly, and I'm glad they did this. They weren't going to try and adjust the shot in midseason because why do that?
Yeah.
They already tried to screw it up with Markelle Fultz. So it's like, why do that with two guys? Do it with Embiid. Just hit him.
Oh,
fuck
hit
it
his
off.
leg. Hit his leg with a hammer. Why
Fuck your
just
whole
screw
team
everything
and
up?
Let's just everybody
You know-
put your fingers out. We're gonna break your fingers.
Yes.
Let him reheal. and teach you how to
Exactly.
shoot
Just
again.
ruin everything. Let's start from
God.
scratch. But I'm not saying he's going to be the best shooter in the world by any means in
He
his
doesn't-
career,
but he
Doesn't
doesn't
need
need
to be.
to.
but he's going to have the option. He's
Right.
going to. I think that's going to.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's not a hot take to say that's going to be his main go-to thing to work on this offseason.
Right.
I think he knows that. Hell, he's working on it pregame. So, I think going forward in his career, he will have the option. I'm not saying he's going to be LeBron with it, but hell, if he's anything close to it,
Oh,
All he needs to do is be a above average shooter.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be an elite shooter. He doesn't need to develop a 3-point shot. A 15 to 20-foot jumper.
and he's golden
Just enough, shoot 4 or 5 or 6 a game, just enough
to draw the defense.
draw the respect of the defense
Mhm.
to where they have to respect his range.
I disagree. Like, I agree with what you're saying to an extent. If you only, I wouldn't even classify that as above average. I
Average.
just think he needs to have that as an option because right now
Adequate, right.
it's not an option.
Yeah.
If it happens, anytime he goes for a shot that's not a layup, for example, or a dunk, even Allah on the freaking on the broadcast is surprised. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To where, listen, I think he's going to have that option going forward. Man, just picturing Ben Simmons now, who's in his rookie year, quote unquote, him with a shot
That's
in the
what
second year.
Oh my
Foolish
God.
Demon said, I'm afraid when Simmons gets a jump shot, it's going to be scary. If he can shoot 38%, 38%, I think he'll be set.
It'll be done. Like
That's a fair assessment.
he
He
gets a
doesn't
jump
need to be a
shot, it's
40 to
done.
45% shooter.
No.
absolutely over when
Not
he
at
gets
all.
a jump shot.
If he could shoot 32, 33, 35%, I'd be happy with that.
Oh my God.
Right
yeah.
now, he'd probably be shooting at about a 15% clip. So
And that's why we threw out that question, I believe it was yesterday. I know you commented on it, Charles, which was, we throw out who's more important to the 76ers' success, Embiid or Simmons, and I'm sure, like, I voted Embiid just as far as just the sheer dominance that he's on the court. But I believe you said, Charles, that it's not necessarily a fair question because they do very different things, but they're equally as dominant at some points.
Yeah, in different ways, and they're both equally important to this team's success.
And
I honestly believe that.
I think the one positive in your question where, is the Embiid injury or the question, a blessing in disguise, I wouldn't say it's that. If anything, it makes us understand the value of Ben Simmons if we hadn't already done it.
Yeah.
So it gives us an opportunity to see, maybe a little bit of a preview of what he can be.
Maybe the phrase blessing in disguise isn't the right one.
It's in poor taste, Charles. In poor taste.
It was just a question that came up. But
I know your intentions, and it's not good.
maybe
Shut
if I
your
said
mouth when you're talking to me.
Maybe if I said if there is some kind of silver lining to the whole scenario, maybe it is because we're able to see that Ben Simmons can do enough to lead them for the rest of the season.
Right.
Maybe that's
I agree.
a better way to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're already playoff bound. I don't know. I'm not that worried about it.
Here's a quick question. You think they get to 50 wins? Or do you even care?
What are they at now with the win tonight?
I think 47.
Yeah.
3. So that means they would have to get like 3 and 6.
They're feeling it.
I mean, they have to play the Bucks on the road, I believe, and they have to play the Cavs on the road. So, I mean, those are going to be tough, especially without Embiid. I think they might get there. I think they might get there.
How many games left?
Wow.
They have like what?
6, I believe. 6 or 7.
They get there. I think they get there.
Imagine
50
this
wins.
team wins
We
50
said
fucking
We
wins
said
this
40.
year.
I said 40. I said 42 wins, 43 wins.
I had him.
I
had him.
think
Oh
I
my
had him
God.
at 43.
I had him at 46, and I got crucified.
Wow, you're good now, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm
can
still
crucify
talking.
them.
Yeah.
I'm still talking.
You still
I'm
got
still
the headset.
here.
You're still good. You got the headset, brother. No, I absolutely think that's a very strong possibility.
It's just so great to even have the opportunity. Like we said, hashtag City of Champions. I'm going to use it forever. Even if, like, in 3 years, I'll be like, remember when we were the City of Champions?
Absolutely.
I'm still using it.
Foolish Demon said, someone tried to tell me that Fultz is similar to Anthony Bennett and that him struggling as a shooter right now is bad for a number 1 pick.
Oh my God.
Tell them that they're stupid.
Yeah,
Tell them that they're the Anthony Bennett of sports opinions.
Yeah, tell them that a number 1 pick in the NBA is also a kid, is a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
And 19-year-olds, unless you're LeBron James, where even he didn't do it at first, they're not going to go from being a kid to the number 1 player in the world.
TTP ball.
Oh, my God.
Dilly,
Yes.
dilly, billy,
gosh.
billy. TTP, man. Where
You
you
come
been at?
in now, TTP.
Damn, TTP, we're
You
like 2
blew
minutes
it.
away from going
You
on the air.
blew it.
We talked so much Sixers talk, too.
Where
Damn
were
you.
You're into. I'm mad at you now. TTP, where were you?
Oh my
You missed
God.
everything.
Everything. We had like a whole hour of Sixers talk.
Now I'm
TTP.
upset.
That was a whole
Now I'm
freaking
upset.
second half, TTP.
I was wondering that too. I'm like, we're missing.
You better be
someone.
there tomorrow,
We're
TTP,
missing
on both
someone.
shows. Redeem yourself.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
screwed
God.
us on our show.
The funny thing is, he did nothing wrong, but we're like,
I
you
know,
missed it.
I know.
Get
He
here
still
10
chimed-
minutes ago.
Like, he still chimed in.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure he's
Yeah.
fired up.
Oh,
It's a good
man.
question.
What do you say?
Hold on. I don't think I think
Now
it
he's
was.
chiming in.
I think that was Foolish Demon
Oh,
said,
okay.
"Is the Spurs 50-win season streak over?" I think it's over.
Yeah,
They're
I
only
think
at
it's done.
45.
That team's a freaking mess. I'm sorry. Like, good for them. I mean, boy, they're going to end up as like the 5th seed or 4th seed. Like, that's fine, but
TTP says it's all good. He said, "Left my ass off. It's all good."
The more I think of it, the more I hear. To be honest, real quick,
Yeah.
the more I really want Kawhi. Like I'm pretty sure he's out of there. I mean, that's not.
No,
might
if
not-
I don't
might
get
not be a
LeBron,
stretch.
I want Kawhi, but I
Yeah.
want LeBron first.
I've always been a Kawhi fan. I love his game, and if we could get a him reunited with Brett Brown and bring him here, I will be absolutely ecstatic. But we'll see.
You know,
we shall see.
I will say the same thing I've been saying for the last few months. Unfortunately, Kawhi, there will be no room for you. I am sorry.
Wait, why?
Todd Womack says Philly Dilly guys from the
23.
night shift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say, really?
Oh,
You don't know where I'm
I
going?
couldn't. It didn't. Yeah, it didn't click. I'm like, wait.
Todd Womack says Philly Dilly guys from the night shift. TTP Ballin says, "I'm telling you, I'd give up 2 firsts and possibly Fultz for Kawhi. I want Kawhi more than Bron, to be honest."
That's fair. I'll take Bron.
I ain't mad at you, brother.
No, I'm not mad.
But
I'm
I
mad.
want LeBron. But if I don't get LeBron, if we can get Kawhi as a consolation prize,
I don't think any of us will be complaining.
I'm interested. I'm trying to figure out where TTP had the Sixers were, at as far as a win total before the season.
Let's ask him.
TTP, can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Foolish Demon says I want Kawhi in Portland. I feel like everybody would take Kawhi at this point.
I'll take him. Listen, I won't lose sleep.
I mean, if I have to take him, fuck.
Well,
I'll
here's-
take him, I
The
guess.
Spurs were gonna beat the Warriors. Let's just I'm backtracking. The last year in the playoffs, they had Game 1, and Kawhi was leading them to a Game 1 victory, and then just one injury, it all goes to hell.
Who stepped on his foot, by the way?
I forget his name.
Guy from the Warriors, right?
Yeah, I forget what is his name. I forget his name.
The friggin' the quote unquote clumsy guy.
Yeah.
The guy. Oh God, I can't stand him. I say his name every day because I can't stand him. The guy that was criticized as being dirty.
Yeah, I know. I know you're talking
give
about.
me a second. The chat's probably gonna beat me to it.
Yeah. If anyone.
TTP said he said 46 wins.
There you
So
go.
he was with you, Ryan.
TTP.
But that's just my point was that just shows Kawhi is a freaking beast.
Todd says I definitely want to get LB or WR with the first or move back.
Zaza Pachulia.
There
A
you go,
linebacker,
Zaza.
wide receiver.
Zaza.
Well, here's my question to you guys, real quick. And I know Chrome, you're equal. I think you're on equal grounds as far as wanting
JaVale
LeBron. JaVale McGee.
Foolish Demon,
No.
JaVale McGee.
TTP says Zaza Pabitch.
We
Yeah,
had
there you
JaVale McGee. Ugh.
Now, are you in a situation like we were in a couple months ago where we were saying we might need LeBron? Do you think Sixers need LeBron?
No.
I never said they need
Okay.
LeBron,
No.
Okay.
but you take LeBron when LeBron is there. You get the best player in the world when you have a chance to get the
Oh
best
my
player
God!
in
So
the world.
Todd Womack chimes in, and then now SJM86. Everyone's chiming in.
Where were you guys?
At the end of the show.
Well, they
We're
all said, "What up,
minutes-
fellas?"
What's up? What's up
let's-
with you?
So let's run a couple extra
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, where
For the fam, we got some fam chiming in late. We're going to stay on for a little bit longer. We're talking Sixers.
Because we love you guys.
whenever you want to end, just throw something at me
Yeah.
because I don't know what to do with my hands over
Yeah,
here
we're
with the
talking
It
buttons.
just makes me
Sixers.
laugh. They all within the 5-minute span of each other. when we're
Bullish
about
Steven
to
says
close.
Damian McCollum and Kawhi. Oh my God. SJM said, "Fellas, what up? On late. I'm loving it. Yeah, we're doing this for the fam.
They're
we're
probably
running.
watching the Sixers game.
We're
That's
working
probably where
overtime.
they're
We don't even get paid to work overtime, guys. We're doing it for you." He says people are mad at Vince Carter. Oh, he took the
at. I
comment.
just
back.
saw that.
Damn you! I was reading that.
He
Bullish
retracted.
Steven.
He wasn't sure of himself. He'll be back.
He
Something
said-
about Vince Carter. I saw
Vin-
something about
Yeah,
Vince
I
Carter.
know where
it
he's
said-
going.
It said people are mad at Vince Carter for the Warriors. That's
So
what it said.
if people hadn't already seen it, so the Warriors were playing.
Todd Womack said I was working. Damn it.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, it's
not-
fine. It's fine.
We're working and we're here for you.
What's your excuse, Todd? No, I'm just joking.
Nah, we love
Yeah,
you, Todd.
Exactly. So the Warriors
Gotta
had
make that money.
played. I forget what freaking team. Vince Carter moves around all the time now.
Isn't he still on?
The Suns, I believe.
I
correct?
legit feel like he's played for every
For
team
the
but the
Kings.
Sixers. I don't know.
They were
Maybe
the Warriors
Orlando-
were playing.
Maybe Orlando.
The Warriors were playing Vince Carter, okay? And I think it was McCall. He went up for a rebound, and Vince Carter made contact with him in the air, and McCall fell on his back, and he had to be stretchered out. And
Ooh.
Vince Carter knew exactly what he did because the unwritten rule in the NBA was when someone's airborne, you don't make contact because, for example, I'm not saying this was what happened with Gordon, but obviously with the Celtics injury, he snapped his leg.
Yeah,
Could have
yeah,
been
yeah,
contact there. It screws things up, obviously. The other thing was the kid on Louisville years ago.
Yep.
Snapped his leg. Anytime there's contact airborne, it's gonna throw some things off, unfortunately. So Vince Carter he was crying on the court.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr was going crazy, saying he was going nuts. He was saying, and I think the ref thought he was yelling at the ref, but he's like, no, I'm disappointed in Vince because he knows better. I don't think it was intentional. People were saying he's a dirty player. Listen, when you're in the league as long as Vince Carter is,
Vince Carter's never been known as a dirty player.
Exactly, I
Right.
agree. Vince Carter, he's been in the league forever. He's going to have those situations.
He's on the
unfortunately.
Kings, by the way.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Foolish Demon.
Yeah.
Listen, when you get into those irrelevant teams, it's all blur. They're all the same.
TTP Ballin says, here's why you go Kawhi over Bron.
And he's still going, by the way.
Bron will demand the ball more. Is it all the same thing? Because I'll read his last then. No.
Yeah, he continues.
That's all right, I'll go.
Yeah.
Bron will demand the ball more, possibly taking some shine away from Ben. While that's not necessarily a problem, Leonard can play the more traditional off-ball small forward. There's literally nothing he doesn't do exceptionally. And if it weren't for Westbrook averaging a triple-double, he'd have been MVP.
Plus you get
where are we at?
Plus you get a younger
Plus you
guy.
get a younger guy, just entering his prime that can grow with our other pieces.
The one.
Oh, we got more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Vince Carter is one of the most respected players in the league. It wasn't
Agree.
intentional. That was from Foolish Team. There's a few more in there. I'm gonna read them. I didn't skip you guys.
The big thing I disagree with TTP with is the thing he led off with.
Yeah, I disagree too.
With LeBron's going to demand the ball.
No, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so.
he
If LeBron comes here,
he's
he's unofficially agreeing what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Because LeBron sees it. Like we said, he's calling him Little King. And he's Little King because he has the ball.
right.
Yeah.
Why would you take the ball away from Little King to put it on Big King?
And plus,
You know
LeBron,
what I mean?
LeBron knows how to play the other positions.
Right.
He knows how to play. Like, why would he demand the ball when he knows
Right.
that's Ben Simmons' forte? And then he knows also himself he can do other things. He can dominate in other aspects of the game outside of handling the ball.
SJM says, LMAO, bro, I'm working. The streets are busy. Finally caught a minute to check in.
Streets are busy.
Running
Understandable, man.
Running them streets, brother. I love it.
Appreciate you for chiming in.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate it. Foolish Demon says, I was going to say they're mad at him for the injury. Forgot the player's name. And then he says he went up for a dunk and Carter was going to contest before he jumped and tried to get out of the way. Tried to get out of the way.
Yep.
And then he says Golden State fans also can't say shit because they have the Nutcracker and Draymond Green.
Yeah, they can't.
That
say
is
anything.
an and I like Draymond
true.
Green, but that is an absolute fair point. That dude, if there is dirty players, he takes the shots when he gets a shot at doing it.
Exactly.
So,
Agreed.
fucking pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, we're sorry something actually happened to your team.
SJM says, Bron would love to be somewhere where he doesn't have to shoulder the entire load. He can mentor, help, lead, and refine our young talent. He put Bron over Kawhi all day. Bron will not demand the ball nearly as much here. And when needed, he can turn it on. Agreed. Agreed.
It's a perfect transitional period if he ends up with the Sixers because, listen, LeBron's the best in the world at the moment. And it's absolutely phenomenal. What is he, 33 currently?
Oh, he's
So
Freak.
He's a year older than me, so 33, yeah.
So for me, this
Same age
guy's
as me.
not going to be at the top of the world for very much longer. Listen, I could be completely wrong. I won't be surprised if I'm wrong, but I don't expect him to be the best in the world for another 10 years. I don't. Maybe another 3. So for him to come to a team to where I've said it before, and you can call me a homer or not, Ben Simmons will be one of the best, if not the best player in the world at one point in
agree.
his career, and
I
it will be
agree.
for a long time.
I agree.
I think he's the next rival to Durant because Durant's going to be the best in the world once LeBron starts to
Right.
go down, and then
Yes.
it's Simmons. And then obviously Greek Freak's up there. But for me, LeBron coming here, understanding that Ben Simmons is going to demand the ball, and it allows LeBron to do whatever he wants and then start to slowly go back and into the background, which I know it's not likely for LeBron because he loves the center spotlight, deservingly so. But there's not many situations where you can come here, win immediately, win a couple, and then just bounce back in history.
I agree.
You're smirking about something. What
No,
is that?
just SJM says, I'm on the good side of the streets, by the way. No hustling. I'm the polar opposite.
Good.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for that insight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need more of that. Foolish Demon. It's why I call LeBron the GOAT. Nobody in the world has his size and has done what he's done. He said, Foolish Demon says, "You're 32." Talking about Charles.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I didn't
And he
think
says,
you were
"Haha,
32.
Well,
I
I'm
look
sure
like I'm
I'm-
20. I know.
I'm turning 32.
Maybe he
in
was
May.
going to say you look like like fucking old. You're just assuming he thinks you look
You are
young.
right. I apologize
Listen,
for assuming.
Bron signs in Philly.
My
We draft
bad.
Jalen Brunson. Playoffs first. But just saying, that's SJM. How old do I look, fuckers?
Well, hey, all I know is, Charles, if they think you look 20, I'm 21 now. People think I'm like 17.
Ryan Brodo looks like he's like.
I'm youthful forever.
He looks like he's in 6th grade.
You should have seen me when
He
I
looks
was
like he's
in 6th
old
grade.
enough that we could be like the upperclassmen, convincing him there's a pool on the roof.
You should see me. You should see a picture
That
of me
was
when I
always
was in the 6th grade. It's absolutely.
Oh God.
I'll show it to you after the show. I'm not showing the people because I'm not having that on the internet.
I could probably walk into a high school and still look like a freshman.
Fair.
Yeah.
He doesn't look that much
Me
different.
too.
So
Yeah.
we
Join the
graduated
club.
together. He does not look that much different than when he
Yeah.
graduated.
I just gained weight. That's pretty much it.
Which is inevitable unless you're LeBron James. So, yeah, Foles Demon said he would have guessed you were 25 or 26. And then he says I look 33. Fuck you, Foolish Demon.
Hi, you look older.
That's because I am 33. I look my age.
Well then screw you then. You look your age.
Well, thank you. I was just kidding. Thank you. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
There
Thank
you go,
you.
Charles. There you go, Charles.
AARP, I'd say 38, dude. I think he's talking about you, not me. I'm hoping.
It's still
anyway.
funny.
Charles, pick this one out of a lineup. Don't you dare show the camera.
Oh God.
I can't find you.
Oh, you'll see me. Look
me
down. Look down. Look down.
Can you not find him either?
Are you the little one?
What the hell do you think? Yes.
I don't know.
That doesn't even look like
I
you.
know. Like
Jesus
that was
God.
freshman year.
Really?
Foolish Demon said I'm only 26. I think I look like I'm 40, but people tell me I look 19.
Oh my God.
So
Oh,
comparison.
That's funny. I get like 28, which I'm like, cool. I'll
That's
take
fine.
it. Yeah, fuck, I'll take it. So is David still celebrating? That's why he's not on. Who's David?
Who's David?
You mean Paulie?
Is it Paul?
Paulie?
Paulie David.
It was my birthday. I think if they're talking about celebrating, we were celebrating last week. That was my
Yeah.
birthday.
Do we even have a David here?
No, I think he means.
I think they're talking about Paulie.
Huh.
Why? Yeah, Paulie.
Unless he's talking about Rosca.
Because he
Charles.
said David went to the Sixers game.
Oh, next week.
Yeah. No, that's
You
Paulie,
should
not
call him
David.
David
I
just
called him
randomly.
David.
Yeah.
Should call him David.
Guys,
You won't know what to do.
guys, if you're gonna watch next week, just keep calling him David.
Say, hey, David.
I want you to direct. So next week we're gonna talk draft. Like I'm not gonna be here. It's like a 90% chance I'm not gonna be here because I'm flying home from New Orleans from WrestleMania. It would be very tight crunch, but they're gonna be here. So next week, direct questions to Paulie, but just call him David all night, and then we'll just totally just troll him about it the whole night. I'll fucking start calling him David in the chat. And I've known the guy since high school. I'll just keep calling him David. So please do that for
That's
us next
gonna be
week.
He won't know what to do.
SJM says, bro, I'll be 32 this year as well. We're fine wine fellows. Quote from Dazed and Confused. You know what I love about these high school girls? I get older and they stay the same age.
Did you just get Mike's post, by the way, in the team group?
No.
I'm going to read. Want me to read it?
Yeah.
Is it
go
okay to read out?
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's
go
like an
ahead.
advertisement. It's
Go
fine.
ahead.
He said, hey, fellas, one extra ticket for Fozzy at the Fillmore on Friday night.
Fozzy.
Well, there's some wrestling guys in here. So he said, I'll buy your first beer. Any metalheads interested? He said, or any
boy.
wrestling nerds?
Oh my gosh.
I will be in New Orleans.
Yeah, have fun with that. Well, I'll see
Thank
you
you.
Thursday, so I'm not even.
Yes. So, guys, great show. Thank you, guys, whoever chimed in. We got a little off the rails, but it was fun conversation at
Late
the
night
end there.
A2D.
You know,
That's what we
hanging out with the fam. Todd Womack was talking about Rosca, by the way. But
Gotcha.
Rosca's not on the show usually.
Oh, Roscoe.
Well, he's probably
okay.
saying what? So he was saying he's celebrating. Is that what he?
Yes.
Oh, the Rams.
The
The
Rams
Rams
trade.
trade. Okay.
The Rams trade.
That makes
Oh,
sense.
here we're talking.
It
it's
all
Paulie.
makes sense
Can we
now.
call Paulie David next week anyway?
Yeah, we'll still do
Fuck.
it.
We'll call him a different name. You kidding me? Come on.
No, but it was funny because Paulie went to the Sixers game too.
Yeah, that's why he
somebody
said-
said he went to the
That's what
Sixers
I was
game.
assuming.
But guys, great conversation tonight. If you joined us on Facebook, Periscope, our fam over here on YouTube, especially the guys who jumped in late.
The best.
That was a nice surprise for the end of the night. We ran a little bit late for you guys, so we appreciate it. And we had a lot of fun talking to you guys. That's you. I was about to read your comment.
I mean, if you want. But
Just to reiterate.
But yeah, so next week again, we're gonna definitely get more draft heavy. Paul, you'll be back. Specifically, I know we said you guys are going to get more in depth with pick 32, or if there's a trade up or down. You'll go through all the possibilities. They're going to talk later rounds. Some guys to look out for that might drop in the later rounds for the Eagles or for other teams to keep an eye on. Whatever happens with the Sixers, Flyers between now and then, I'm sure they'll chime in. I can guarantee you there'll be no Phillies talk because he don't even know what baseball is. So
there's no crying in baseball. I know that.
Other than a league of their own.
I know that.
Jesus.
That's great. Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump as I call him Forrest Gump. Okay, I call him Forrest Gump because he's Forrest Gump.
Oh my boy. I love you, SJM.
Oh.
All right, guys.
Just gonna hit the bed now.
Yeah. With that, thank you again for joining us. We're excited to talk to you guys next week. Hey, if you're watching WrestleMania this weekend, guys, it's going to be a good time. Make sure you check out The Fix tomorrow night. Check out AM and the PM tomorrow night. Thursday night, we'll do our last-minute wrap-up before we head to WrestleMania. I got a 5:30 a.m. flight Friday morning
you're
to
committed,
New Orleans.
Man. For the people, man.
Fucking right. Hey, I'm going to be I'm probably not going to sleep. I'm going to do the show, go home, and go to the airport. But he says they hate me. Foolish demon. But yeah, so I'm like, agree to disagree is on Sunday. Sports Hounds is I almost said Sound Hounds. Sports Hounds is on Mondays.
The chat will fill in the blanks for that one.
Sports Hounds on Sundays. Guys, thank you for joining us live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. Thank you to Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Don't forget, April 15th is around the corner, tax season. Guys, get your taxes taken care of. GibsonMayer.com. Scanzano Sports, thank you for sponsoring our poll question. Thank you to Stream Smart. Thank you guys out there. We love you. We'll see you next week.
So true.